What up, what up, what up, New York Giant Nation and football fans all over the world? It's your boy Mac the Giants fan. I got my guy Adam Costas with me. This is the real deal NFC East Round-Up. Punch that intro, baby. What up, what up, what up? What's going on, everybody, man? What's going on, Adam, man? How you feeling out there today, man?
I am good. How are you? I mean, I didn't get a super dope co-host this week. I must be in the doghouse in the Mac doghouse this week. just, just,
Nah,
just, just kidding, Mac. Just kidding. No, but I'm doing very good. Thank you.
What's going on? Oh, what's going on in the chat? It's my homie Reese Bass, man. This is a guy I went to school with, grew up with a little back in the day when we was little young
Nice.
bulls, man. What's going on, man? Good to see you out there, bro.
Good.
Coach Ed, man, always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure, Coach Ed.
The
Strong
man,
supporter
the
of the
myth, the
channel.
legend.
Please sub up to
That guy
Coach
is
Ed
great.
if you haven't already, man. Great content he does on his channel, man.
Fantastic. Very wisdomatic football guy. Love learning something new and getting the discussions with him because he opens up your mind to the football game. So love Coach Ed.
Absolutely, man. Interesting week in the NFC East this week, man. Unfortunately, New York Giants was the only one that came up a little bit short this week, unfortunately. But we can't win them all, and getting going into that bye week, get ready for the second half of the season. But the NFC East overall, another strong week for the NFC East, man. Three of the teams represented in this division is still rocking and rolling, man, and killing it, man, like they have been all season, dominating
It's good,
in
Miz.
dominating fashion. It's good as going on, Miz. Good to see you, man. Most definitely,
Well,
good to see you, Miz.
it was a fantastic weekend for the NFC East, minus one team, I think. But the NFL. It's fun to see these teams coming back. I know what the caveat is. I know the schedules are a little weak, but that's not our fault. They play who you play. But it's fun to watch. It's kind of reminding me of the mid '90s where we kind of had these games where teams are still in it. You're still gonna. I mean, look at the Commanders. They're still in it. I mean, they're still in it. Can you believe that? So it's going to be fun down the stretch.
Yeah, the Commanders are definitely playing themselves back into it and the things, and they got a big matchup this week that can determine what the rest of their season could possibly be, man. We'll get to that in a little bit, but first we are going to start off down in Dallas, man.
Big D,
Chicago
Jared's
Bears.
World, Jared's World.
Them Chicago Bears went to go visit the Dallas Cowboys, man, and it started off. It was a little competitive in the earlier parts of the game, and then it just second half started, and then it just got out of hand for the Chicago Bears, man. The Cowboys just opened it up on them, and as we see the final score, 49-29, man. Yeah. Any thoughts on this?
Didn't know. I was waiting for you to be finished. No,
Oh, cool.
I think I'm getting a phone call. Actually, hold on. Hello. It's Jared. It's Jared Jones. I'm calling you up. I haven't called you all year, but I'm calling you up to tell you this. Guess what? We are better than you. We are in second place. We're going for first place. And New York, we'll see you on Thanksgiving. I got to go. I'm on my yacht. Goodbye. Enjoy the show, fellas. Click. Anywho, I guess that was Jerry calling in. He wants to rub it in our face that the Cowboys are 6-2, and they absolutely annihilated the Chicago Bears. It's funny because I look at Justin Fields, and he didn't play a bad game. It just was like the Cowboys just kept going. And, oh, by the way, the Tony Pollard era has started in Big D, okay? That boy he's good. I mean, I like Zeke Elliott, and I like what he does, but Zeke Elliott might be regulated to second-tier back, man. He might be back number 2 when he comes back, if he comes back from this injury. But man, and the other running back that they had, 34, I think his number was. That kid was running hard too. So it was kind of for me. I hate to say this, the Cowboys kind of offensively did some things that we expect out of the Cowboys. Defensively, while they played a good game and held them to 49 points, I thought they played a little bit not up to par, given a weaker Bears team, some points. 29 to be exact. But, some of that happens in garbage time. Micah Parsons, heads up play by that guy, man. I thought it was down, because you see those plays all the time. And Justin Fields, blame the guy. I don't know what to do right here. Do I blame Justin Fields for not knowing? I kind of guess I have to, right? I guess you would have to do that. But, hey, man, great game for the Cowboys. Hate to say that, but, yeah, a lot of fun.
Well, let me just hit on it. Like you said, defensively, it wasn't necessarily performance we've been seeing from this Cowboys defense most of the season, but you were right, man. For what it's worth, Justin Fields kind of caused that. He was making things a little difficult for the Cowboys, man. He was very elusive in the pocket, getting out, making some good runs.
You're saying he's improving?
He's definitely improving. Justin Fields has been kind of improving every week in and week out. They just get some more help for that kid over there, particularly on the offensive line. Talking about particularly on the offensive line too.
Right.
I understand.
That's probably who they should have traded for. That's probably who they should have traded for. An offensive lineman.
But yeah, this kid he's been getting a little bit better over there in Chicago. So he made it tough for the Dallas defense. But like you said, they still
you're right.
When it came down to it, man, they just stepped on their throat in the second half of this game and just kind of went off and running, man, and made it difficult, man.
Sports?
And Tony Pollard, man. Tony Pollard, you're right. He's just very, very explosive. He brings a different explosive element that Zeke just doesn't have. Zeke never really was that type of back. He always was more of that road grader, but now
he's a field flipper. Like I call these guys field flippers, where you could be on your minus 20 and all of a sudden you're on the plus 40, right? Because he breaks a long run or something like that. Different than Barkley.
Yeah, I could bring you on later on, Miss. So just I think you're right. Power's that guy that he can hit that home run at the drop of a hat. You just never know, man. So it's just very explosive, man. He can be a very explosive dude, man.
Well, they got their quarterback back as well. Dak had a pretty good game. I would say so myself, scoring some touchdowns. And what's good for the Cowboys is these powder puff games they're playing against these poo-poo teams coming up right now, right? Before they play Green Bay, who's probably going to be, I wouldn't say good, but like they're Green Bay. They have Aaron Rodgers. They make plays, right? He makes plays out there. So my point is that you can now you could ease Dak in if you wanted to, right? Now he gets these guys where he can build up his confidence. They can build up their confidence rapport. And then when the games get harder, like when the Giants come to town and things like that, he'll already be ready to go. It's not like you're thrusting him in there right on Thanksgiving, right? So he's going to have some games to get warmed up. And it looked pretty good from the first week he played to this week. I saw that was a different element that we haven't seen much of. Dak Prescott running. I thought that was a different little wrinkle they added to. He ran, but like more designed runs. You know what I mean? More like his rookie year.
Yeah, he had 5 carries in this game, 34 yards and a touchdown. So definitely we're utilizing his legs as well. And like you said, he had a good game, efficiently passing 21-27 for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. Did have the 1 interception, but he also counted for 3 touchdowns on the day. So I'll take that 1 interception. I live with that.
Look at those numbers. That's efficient, man. Like, I hate to just say it. It's not like he did much. He just and the run game's working. Oh man, I hate Dak Prescott, but that's an efficient stat line right there.
Absolutely, and he's got his complement of weapons back as far as on receivers. Michael Gallup is back healthy in the lineup, man. Dalton Schultz, CeeDee Lamb's been there the whole season anyway. So these guys he's got it going on.
And now that rookie tight end that they have the rookie tight end.
Oh yeah,
Pentnoy or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I think I'm saying his name wrong.
No, it's something like that. I can't remember how you pronounce it, but I know who you're talking about. But that so Dallas is getting healthy at the right time of the season, man. So we'll see if they got what it takes to keep pace with the Eagles that are been off and running all year long. You know what I mean? Can the Cowboys? Do you think they got what it takes, Adam, to keep pace with this Philadelphia Eagle team? Because look, I'm not trying to discount what we're doing in New York, but we're 6-2. Cowboys are a different 6-2. I feel like, they're more the team that most people. And I can admit too, myself included, believe that is more likely the team in this division that's going to be able to have any potential to take out the Eagles legitimately. So you think the Cowboys got what it takes?
Well, we'll find out after the bye week. I think they're, how we're over meeting our expectations. I think their offensive line is better than we thought. Their team is better than we think, right? They're playing. Mike McCarthy has got them playing at a high efficiency offensively, and defensively, they've been pretty good, right? So, do I think they can challenge the Eagles? Yes, I do. Do I think they're legitimately the second best team in the NFC East? Unfortunately, I do. I hate to say that, and we'll get to a reasons why in a little bit when we get to another team that we talk about. But I do believe I think they're going to split with at least one. I think at least one game they're going to split. Like, look at this Cowboys schedule coming out of their break, right? They just beat the Bears on a high note, right? The Giants now, who they beat, are 6-2 as well, because they have sole possession of second place. They play the Packers, could be a tricky game. Then they play what could be a playoff preview or NFC Championship preview is Cowboys Vikings. You got to start thinking like that, right? Then who knows? Could be an NFC Championship preview. Giants Cowboys on Thanksgiving. I think the Giants are going into a buzzsaw in that game. I really do. I think the Cowboys. I think that's the game that got circled national TV that they want to come out and make a statement, because the next two games after that are the Colts and the Texans and the Jaguars, right? So they play the Eagles. They played the Eagles early on, right? They played the Eagles early on and lost in Philadelphia. So then they have the Colts, the Texans, the Jaguars, and then they play the Eagles on Christmas Eve. And that's when we'll find out right there, because again, like I said, the Cowboys have two difficult games in, the Packers and the Vikings. I do think they're going to beat the Packers. The Vikings are a different story. And then they have the Giants. After that, like I said, 3 easy games leading up into that Eagle game. Ooh, Mac, it is going to be exciting. I don't know, man. It's going to be exciting. Oh, there's Tommy Boy.
It's going to be a fun second half of the season, man. Definitely going to be a fun second half of the season within this division, man. It's set up to be a really interesting football, man. But, any more thoughts on the Dallas Cowboys for right now?
Other than they can go eat a I'm good.
Well, I'm with you, brother. We can get ready to move on to these Philadelphia Eagles. Why don't we?
Oh.
Who also had some visitors on Sunday. In-state rival, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh.
And the Eagles, once again, took care of their business, man.
Clap some cheeks.
Yes, they took care of their business and pretty much ran the Pittsburgh Steelers up out of the building.
Yes, it was. You know what I hate about this is I love Tom being lurking in this space. But the problem is he's an Eagle fan, a friend of over like 20 years. He's going to be so smiling ear to ear when he hears that I'm going to praise the Eagles and say, yes, they are the best team in football right now, and they took care of business against a lesser team. That's what I hate to say this, but that's what I want to see the Giants do. I don't want you to always be in these nail biters. I want you to establish your dominance against teams that you are far better than, right? Like against Houston, and we'll mention in a minute. Don't make that a game. Philadelphia didn't make this a game with Pittsburgh. They didn't toy with them. They didn't let it hang around. They put their foot on their throat. A.J. Brown is still talking smack right now. And let's talk about him for a minute. Bernie Mac was incredible. And it goes to show you what happens when you throw a ball in the vicinity of a guy and go, let him make a play. Sometimes a 50-50 ball works out. Not always, but sometimes throw it up there. Sometimes you got to let your guy do his job. Sometimes he's got to get a little dirty. His hands got to get a little dirty. That's why you pay him the big bucks. Go up there and make a play. A.J. Brown made plays on Sunday of a number one. That Eagle offense was Pittsburgh couldn't do anything. I mean, Pittsburgh could not do anything. And yeah, granted, I know they had a quarterback. Well, look at this. Jalen Hurts goes from 19 of 28 for 285 and 4 TDs. 4 TDs. They even put Gardner Minshew in the game. That's how badly they were beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay. Miles Sanders, he has a touchdown. AJ Brown goes for 156 and 3 TDs. Zach Pascal has a TD. Devontae Smith was efficient with 5 catches. Dallas Goedert. My God. And we haven't even got to the defense.
Joseph Thice in the chat. I don't disagree with you on that one, brother. We'll be talking about that in a little while, though. In a little bit. But yeah, this team is starting to look. Honestly, I ain't gonna lie, starting to look pretty scary, man. This team don't seem to have too many weaknesses, man. I just don't see, like you said, AJ Brown with 3 big touchdown catches, man, and those were some nice plays. They were nice throws.
Right.
And they were nice catches, man. It was just a great connection they've developed right there, AJ Brown and
very quickly.
Hurts, man.
Like 8 weeks into the season, they're balling out, man.
Did not take long, but like you said, we didn't talk about the defense yet. This defense, once again, another big 6-sack day for this defense, man. It seems like just nothing is slowing.
They come from everywhere,
like a wrecking ball, man.
I don't even know who Marlon Tutupulu is, but he has a sack. Hassan Reddick has a sack. Javon Hargraves 2 sacks. Chauncey Gardner, their cornerback, a sack and an interception. Let's add a little cherry on top. Then you have Milton Williams. Guys that we don't know should be making these plays are making these plays, and it's crazy to see. And it's going to be fun to watch them against Houston. I don't think it's going to be a game. I think it's going to be one of those where I'm just going to watch the game to scout the Eagles to see how to go up against,
Yeah, I also do agree with that comment right here. If we are looking for a weakness on this football team, it is that run defense is not exactly top notch, but it's still. Overall, they had a pretty rough day defending the run, but they did everything else so well that it's hard to ask
yourself this question: If are they letting up the run on purpose because they can do everything else, right? I think maybe that's the game plan. We'll let Najee Harris run all over the field. We'll stop them where it counts, right? In the red zone and get turnovers and let the young quarterback put them in a position to lose the game, right? Instead of, going all out and, being dominant. Maybe that was the game plan. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't think that them giving up the run, and let's see how much they gave up in yardage. I don't even know. I'll go check.
They up 144 yards on the ground, but that was a contributor. That wasn't just like Najee Harris. That was.
Yeah, that's not stopping the run. That's pretty much shutting down the run. The guy had 6 carries, for 50 yards. Okay, but Najee Harris had 8 carries for 32. Kenny Pickett 7 for 37. So I'm not going to say they didn't stop the run well. I would say, if anything, they did a pretty good job bottling the run up. You don't want 100 yards rushing, but it wasn't like, Najee Harris had, 10 carries for 150 yards.
Yeah, I agree, man. They bend, but they definitely don't seem to be breaking, man. So I'm trying to figure out what can stop this Philadelphia football team, because right now they're like a well-oiled machine, man. And I'm curious, do you think they're poised for a long run deep into the playoffs? Did I lose Adam? Yeah, I guess I lost Adam for a second. Couldn't hear you. Were you talking, Adam? Because I couldn't hear you. Nothing you were. We lost him. Adam will be right back. But what is going on here, man? My whole everything changing up. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry, everybody. I don't know what's going on right now. It's just going haywire. But
I think the Eagles will be stopped by somebody. I don't know who in the NFC is going to stop them. Maybe the Cowboys. Maybe the 49ers. The 49ers do have good personnel that matches up well. We'll see. But the Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, those are the teams that we're going to have to hope stop the Eagles, because I hate to say it, I don't even think Minnesota can do it. It depends on where the game is, but right now, home field advantage will be going through the link right now, or financial field, which people we do not want. We do not want. We do not want. If they get home field throughout the playoffs, it's going to be tough to out the Eagles. Right? They're right now playing pretty good at home. It's going to be a
Yeah, now
raucous
they playing pretty
environment.
damn good everywhere.
It's true. True. There ain't no, but um, I think on the road they're a little bit more susceptible. But at home, I think they feed off that energy in that crowd, and you know what they're going to do in the playoffs.
Well, Reese, man, I think the thing is, yeah, their schedules. I mean, on paper, looks has been a little bit light, but you can't help but who you're scheduled to play against. And the reality is, they're taking care of the teams that they're scheduled against. They're up
Whoever
against. You
plays
know what
them,
I
they're
mean?
coming out with the all blacks and the green helmet.
Yeah, yeah, you're breaking up, Adam, a lot, man. I don't know. You keep cutting out a lot, but yeah. So you can't help who you schedule. You just gotta take care of who you playing against.
I don't know why there's two of me. There we go.
And now, and there you go. And now there's just one. Yeah, we couldn't. I don't know. You kept cutting out, so we couldn't. I couldn't hear what you were saying, man.
Unpopular. I don't think Philly's unbeatable, but I think they're the class of the NFC right now. They're not like Roman Reigns, where they're not going to lose. I do expect them to lose right now, but I don't feel the New York Giants match up well with this team. Um, and we'll get into that matchup as we go in, but I think the Philadelphia Eagles right now have to be respected because they are the best. Like you are what your record says you are. They're 8-0, right? If we're going to sit here and be happy about 6-2, they're damn sure proud that they're 8-0 right now. And I'm not saying they're unbeatable. I think the Buffalo Bills, who got beat, are the best team in football. I do. I think they have the best quarterback, best team,
I
best
agree.
everything right now. They're playing out of their mind. They got Von Miller playing out of his mind. Jermaine Edmonds, the two linebackers, Milano, the safeties, they are playing the best football anything. Like they are hell bent on getting Buffalo the chance to see the Lombardi go through their house, right? Do I want to play Buffalo in the wintertime? Hell no, right? So what the Eagles are doing right now with the schedule, like you were saying, they play who they play. They build up to 8-0, 9-0, 10-0. Like, let's see who they have after Houston, right? I'm not sure who they have after Houston. Let me go look that up for you guys
Yeah, I have
quickly.
no
Uh,
idea.
they have they have they have the Cowboys. No, not the Cowboys. Oh, I think it's the Commanders. So no, it goes. Yes, it's the command. It goes Texans, Commanders. So I'll have 10 days to prepare. Oh my! Commanders are probably going to be knocked out of the playoff picture this week, of these next 2 weeks, and then they have the Colts, the Packers, the Titans, the Giants, the Bears, the Cowboys, the Saints, the Giants again. So they're going to slip. They'll probably be 14-3, But do you really think they're going to lose to the Texans on Thursday night?
I do not. I do
Right?
not.
And all right, if we play devil's advocate, you think with 11 days off, right? Because they're playing on Monday night football now. Do you think they're going to lose the Commanders in their building? I don't.
Well, I mean, not likely, but division games, all bets are off. You know what I mean? That's why I love division games,
All
man. All
Well,
bets are off. We
let's say
didn't. I mean,
something funky happens.
a lot of people didn't have
Let's say
Cincinnati getting trashed by Cleveland on Monday night either. I'm
it's true.
sure, but that happened.
Let's say okay. So let's just play hypotheticals and say the Commanders somehow go in there and upset the Eagles, right? Then they come back with the Colts and the Packers, winnable games for them, especially with the way the Colts are playing. The Eagles should step on their throat after losing a close one to the Commanders, right? Then they come out and probably eliminate the Packers from the playoff picture, and then the Titans might be an interesting game because while the Giants played them early on and can knock them out early, bang. But we're getting too far ahead of ourselves. Right now, they had a good game. They're the best team. Until proven otherwise, they're the best team.
Absolutely, man. I totally agree with that. Right now, I mean, that's just what it is. I mean, you can't deny the 7-0 record, man. And they are the Philadelphia Eagles, and we know most of us, New York Giant Nation, we hate having to get the Eagles
Now
props,
listen,
man. But
they can win all the games as long as they lose the Super Bowl. I don't care. If they go, 18, 19, 20 and lose the Super Bowl and go 20-1 or something like that, fine. That's fine with me.
I don't need to see them in the Super Bowl. They already got the damn Phillies in the World Series. They already got the damn soccer team getting ready to play for the championship on Saturday too, the Philadelphia Union. We don't need to see the Eagles in Super Bowl either. You know what I mean?
I don't. I'm just saying if there's one game I choose for them to lose, maybe that one. But then they just rub it in our face that we got there.
But I think right now it's just going to depend on this Eagle team being able to keep everybody healthy, because that's it. That's one thing I can say about this team too right now. They have not had any real major. I mean, other than the left tackle who was out earlier in the year for a few weeks, they haven't had any real true major injuries that have slowed this team down, man. So it's going to depend on that too. They keep maintain their health. I just don't see what's stopping this team in the NFC right now. Honestly, myself.
You know what's funny is like opinion.
I don't see.
But I think they have guys that can play. They have guys that can play. I believe that. I believe they have guys that can play, and behind them. So like even though we think they stink or have no injuries, how do we know their depth players are not good? Because they all play. Now you're playing on a winning team. Right? That feeds into your depth players. It really does.
I mean, they're also, like I said, they're also a well-coached football team. I mean, Nick Sirianni is looking like a much better coach than people gave him credit for a year ago when he was hired. I mean, people had a lot of jokes, a lot of cracking a lot of jokes prematurely, but this guy is proving to be a legit coach.
I feel like the Giants are kind of on when we get there. I feel like they're kind of on the same Eagle trajectory in the way that they're doing things and how they're rebuilding. Because the Eagles last year, we all picked for dead. Said, hey, the new coach, Jalen Hurts, blah, 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 fourth place. They end up going to the playoffs. And now here they are. Tommy, you got on screen, baby. Love to see Tom in the chat. It's one of my good friends. Love that he's back again. I'm sure he's loving the fact that I'm lauding his Eagles right now. He's probably smiling ear to ear because that's the guy I told you guys last week I made a bet with. And I know if somehow by hook or by crook, he's going to be trying to get me in a bet this year too. So we'll see.
That's awesome, man. Glad to see him here tuning in, man. Appreciate it.
Makes me feel great.
But
we can put a bow on this one, though.
Yeah, any more thoughts on this Philadelphia Eagle team? Because the positive talk about this Philadelphia Eagle team always, makes me feel funny.
It makes my skin crawl. Like I feel like we just came from Halloween. I feel like I'm a different person when I'm on this thing.
Just don't feel natural.
Talking about the Eagles, and here I am.
Haven't had anything bad to say about the Eagles all season. It's not fun.
Make it fun. Lose a game. Lose to Houston. Then we can talk about something ridiculous.
Woo! Please, do that. That would be awesome. Think about that for 10 days. But
oh wow,
we can get ready to definitely move on, man. Who we got up next here? We got the Washington Commanders went down to Indianapolis, took on the Colts, and this game ended with a bang.
Wow.
Ended with a bang, man. So have the Washington Commanders found the Heinick key to turning around their season the rest of the way, man. Because it's been a lot different since Taylor Heineke's been inserted into this lineup, man. At quarterback, it's just this team's playing with a different confidence level, man.
Well, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I did think I mentioned this might spark the Washington team, being that they would have a guy coming in here playing quarterback. And 2 weeks into it, he'd sparked that team to 2 wins. Okay, this one being the biggest one of all because it was a comeback win, and it was a last-minute win. It was a walk-off win, right? So they're back in the playoff hunt, whether we like it or not. They maybe this is the guy they need to kind of like jumpstart them. And like Max said, division games are kind of funky. Maybe they steal one, right? And they back into the playoffs, because think 4-4 right now. You've got San Francisco around that area. You got the Washington Commanders around that area and a few other teams in the NFC in that area of wild card. So they're still in it. They're probably going to play hard. And let's be honest, Tyler Heineke is not great. We know that, but he's competent enough to do what you need to do, and you can ride him out for the rest of the season as your starter. He's not the greatest. I don't think they're going to be all of a sudden this playoff team, but maybe he just brings a little bit more dynamic because guys are like, hey, we know him. We know he can get the job done, and there's some familiarity. Sometimes that helps, man. It really does.
Yeah, I mean, Taylor Heineke, like you said, he's not some all world guy, but at the same time, numbers on Sunday, 23-31, 279 yards, and a big touchdown pass, man. So this team is pretty legit, man. I mean Taylor Heineke. I shouldn't say pretty legit, but Taylor Heineke is making his offense look pretty legit again, man. We're getting Terry McLaurin appearances once again. All of a sudden now we're getting Terry McLaurin appearances, man.
Well,
this
he's
kid's
smart
from
guy.
I don't know anybody knows, man. Terry McLaurin is from Indianapolis. That's where he grew up at, man. That was like a hometown reunion for him on Sunday. And went down there and made the big play to take Washington over the top late in that game, man. 6 big catches, 113 yards, man. So you get Scary Terry back in the mix with Taylor Heineke back in his lineup, and that just seems weird because I thought during the offseason, once they acquired Carson Wentz, we thought that was going to be the boost that Terry McLaurin needed, playing with a quarterback that we all thought was a better quarterback than the ones he's been playing with throughout his NFL career so far. But right now, with Taylor Heineke back in the lineup, that's what's making the difference right now in this Washington offense. So I honestly, with what I'm seeing the last couple of weeks, Carson Wentz is going to remain on that bench no matter when he's healthy or not. You know what I mean?
I think so too.
He's just going to keep a seat there, brother, because this Washington offense looks like it's completely different now. If they pick up the run game a little bit and can get running the ball a little more consistently, you know.
Well, I think to answer the question of unpopular opinion in sports, will all 4 teams make the playoffs in the NFC East? No, I think the Washington Redskins Commanders will not make the playoffs. I mean, look at their schedule. They play the Vikings next week. And if they upset the Vikings, then we can – if they upset the Vikings on Sunday afternoon, I will decree this right now. They will be fighting for the playoffs if they beat the Vikings, because that to me will be the game that they need to kind of boost their confidence going in against an Eagle team that has 10 days off. And that game becomes uber important because they'll be fighting for the division. But then they have the Commanders, right? And a couple other teams, Falcons, Browns, Cowboys, 49ers. I mean, like, that's the team they really need to worry about is 49ers. If I am the Commanders, that's the team I'm worried about. Right now, I could care less about Giants and the Eagles, and if they may beat us, right? They may look at us and say, hey, listen, the Giants aren't overwhelming with talent. We can beat this guy. Let's steal him. Steal a couple games. So if they can steal a couple wins down the stretch and make it harder for these other teams to get in, like the 49ers, who they play, like the Vikings, who they play, and the Eagles and Giants, because the Giants are fighting for a wild card too. Maybe who knows? I don't know. That's what's so fun about the NFC East. But right now, if I had to put money on it, Washington will be the team that does not make it.
And Washington's got some news swirling around Washington too. Dan Snyder is finally agreeing to look for someone to sell the team to. That's good news from a lot of standpoints in Washington. 'Cause I think a lot of these players, a lot of these guys associated with this team right now will be a lot more comfortable if they know that Dan Snyder's not the one running things anymore, man. Because there's so much controversy. So if they can try to get rid of him, get him out of there, and get some new ownership in there, they also, that may be, like a little boost for this Washington team. Just, thinking like that, like, hey, finally get some fresh air up in here, like, clean the air up a little bit, because it's been bad. A lot of bad news coming out of Washington for several years with Dan Snyder under Dan Snyder's ownership, and also some other more good news. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Adam. Quick.
I know it's unfortunate. It's fortunate this is happening. You want Dan Snyder to get out of here, but if he leaves and a smarter guy comes in, will the Washington Commanders become built up again because they'll have ownership that cares? I mean, the ownership doesn't care. With this team, and we kind of got away with beating them. When new ownership comes in, and now Washington's going to be a better team.
I mean, it could be. I mean, just something positive because there's just so much negativity behind the scenes with this organization.
Maybe they'll keep Rivera.
So
That would be a good thing. Keep Rivera.
and also getting some more good. His back. I'm not sure what kind of effect he'll have if he'll be actually playing in this game this
Really?
week or not. But he's back. Yes, indeedy.
Interesting.
Chase Young is back with and that could be a game changer right there. That could be an absolute game changer, man. We know the talent level with Chase Young, and we know I've been seeing him on the sidelines the last couple of weeks of their games, so he's definitely been out there ready, chomping at the bit, man. And now he's getting the opportunity to get back on the field, man. So we can see what that can do for this defense.
Yeah, you don't know how big a player that is. Like he's a motor like Micah. I'm not saying he's as good as what Micah's doing right now, but you could probably say that Chase Young has that effect on his defense, where he makes Sweat better, right? Because now the double teams are going to have to come his way. So, man, now that he's coming back, maybe they steal a couple games. Like I said, maybe he changes the narrative right now. Maybe Tyler Heineke gives them confidence. Chase Young gives them a little confidence on defense to say, hey, we can now stop some of these teams that we're going to be going up against, and maybe they sneak in the back end. I don't know, man, but a lot of these teams are getting healthy. Good for Washington. I want them at full strength to come into our building.
Absolutely, man. I wouldn't want to know no less, man. But yeah, I agree on popular opinion, man. Chase Young makes their defense dangerous, man. It just adds a different element, man. That could probably help open up things for Montez Sweat again, who he hasn't had a big year yet, but it's like I said,
but
different.
Watch now he will
focus
their
attention on. Yeah, exactly. When they can just focus their attention on him, it's a lot different, man. Now
it's going to change the whole
Young out
there. Absolutely. This is what we have to talk about with like a guy like Chase Young over Thibodeau's good right now, and he hasn't developed the Chase Young ability yet. He will. I think he will. But Chase Young, what he does is he's like Myles Garrett, only with less sacks. And what Myles Garrett does is he takes up so much because of his body and what he does and how big he is and the guys you got to account to him. Now it's going to allow a guy like a Montez Sweat and a Jonathan Payne and Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne to kind of now have one-on-one matchups that they probably weren't getting before. Right. And that wears you down because if you're constantly taking a double team or you're Montez Sweat, you're always getting chipped by a tight end. Well, now they have the tight end to the other side because now they got to actually account for Chase Young. Well, now that leaves you up for sacks and other things and opening up other guys. So Chase Young does a lot more than just get sacks. It's going to be a big boost to that defense.
Absolutely, man. He's going to be a welcome addition back in that lineup, man. Because that defense has been suspect at best for most of the year, so they definitely need all the reinforcements they can get on that defense, and he's a hell of a reinforcement. And he's had a long time to sit back and get ready while he's been rehabbing, getting ready. So
I feel like they're about to let a dog off a leash.
He's anxious to get back out there. Absolutely. He was one of the most hyped guys on that sideline on Sunday after they made that big play to come back and win that game. On Sunday, man, he was one of the most. He was so excited. He was so hyped, man. You can tell he is just ready to get back out on that field with his guys, man. And, I mean, I ain't gonna lie. As a football fan, I can't wait to kind of see it, just because I respect the talent of Chase Young, and I like to see guys doing well. But when they play the New York Giants, it's gonna be definitely. Can't wait to see that matchup, him and Andrew Thomas, man. That might be one for the ages, man. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that when we get to that. We still got some few weeks to go there for that one. But yeah, man, I've been hearing Joe Shane's said he will be open to it, but we'll see what happens. I wouldn't be upset if that were to be the case once he's all healthy, once Odell is healthy. But we'll see. We'll see what happens when we get there. And Joe Shane, I trust right now, man. And But I don't like I said. One thing I would say for Washington though, going down this stretch is I would like to see that run game get a little bit more consistent. Man, they just haven't been doing that well enough, especially with your backup quarterback Taylor Heineke who is playing more like a legitimate starter anyway. But at the same time, take a little bit of that pressure off the passing game in their offense and try to get that running game, incorporate the running game a little bit more. I feel like they abandon it too quickly. I mean. And they just kind of get away from it too much. They got to kind of just let Brian Robinson's the type of guy, like one of those type of backs that you keep feeding him the rock, he'll start making defenses, not want to tackle him. So I think they just got to get a little more. And then you got an Antonio Gibson that you can mix in there and hit kind of be more like a home run hitter every once in a while. So I think I think they could have a lot more success if they would have put a little more attention to that run game. But you're right, the O line is not very good.
Yes, we'll see. That's why you play the games, right? This is why you play the games. So, and now you're in week 8, 9. You're going to have game tape, game film. You're going to be able to dissect things and pull out people's weaknesses, and who knows what Heineke can allow them to do. So, but that's all my thoughts on Washington.
All right, so you ready to move on to what we do best?
Yes.
What we do best here, talk that New York Giant talk. Unfortunately, this week,
what everybody really wants to tune into.
Unfortunately, the New York Giants were the lone team in the NFC East to take an L this weekend, unfortunately. But sitting at 6-2, New York Giants are definitely still far and away better than most people had them being at this point in the season, at the halfway point. 6-2 is still pretty damn good. A lot of people were down and out on Sunday about the loss. But look, here's the reality. We're still 6-2. There's still only 4 teams in the conference that have an equal or better record than us. So look, we're sitting in a good spot still. We just got to handle our own business, come out this bye week, and get refocused again. We went out to Seattle, a tough place to play, and they just outplayed us in every facet of the game. I mean, there's no other better way to put it. They flat out outplayed us in every way. Like you mentioned, Adam, they outcoached us, everything, the whole line. I mean, Seattle just took it to us, and they were the better team on that day. It is what it is.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. I couldn't have said it any better. I think we were outplayed. I know a lot of people want to talk about the fumbles and things like that, but you could also say what ifs on Seattle side. If DK Metcalf catches one of those passes, do they have more points, right? If Tyler Lockett doesn't drop that touchdown, is that another point? It never felt like the Giants were really in this one from the start. They fought hard. They played hard. I think the offense was absolutely putrid. Rewatching the tape, it was not a good game plan. Our 2 stars did not play well, and they didn't. Nobody played well. It was a shit show. We could dissect individual players if you want, but to me, the game plan doesn't make any sense to me. I understand. I get what you tried to do, but you came out against the Jaguars knowing that they were a bad passing team. So you passed the ball to loosen them up to run game. This team was not a good run team, and you opened up with a pass to start the game. Okay? Not only did you do that, you never got into a rhythm offensively. The first half, our quarterback had 17 yards passing. 17 yards. And they were moving the football up and down the field. It's one of those games where I think you're going to see this type of game when Giants play better teams this year, right? And even if they get Odell, I don't think it's still going to change too much, or Kenny Golladay. But teams like this that are going to have good defenses, that are going to be able to stop Barkley with the lack of weapons we have, and the quarterback who doesn't always play well when called upon in big spots, that's what they're going to do to stop us. Because I rewatched them, I looked at it, I rewatched everything, and the quarterback didn't play the way he's been playing the last few weeks. Because Seattle had a good game plan. They had a spy. Every time Dan, I'm going to call him Dan. Every time Dan ran out of the field, right, to go do an RPO run like that, they had somebody crashing down on him. He was only getting a 3 yards carry. They had a great game plan on stopping Barkley, and basically they played zone against our receivers because they knew that the Giants don't go deep. And it's not just lack of personnel, but you need to throw the ball deep. Loosen up the damn defense, okay? Just give them something to worry about. I know Kenny Galladay's coming back this week. I don't know what he's going to do. Everyone's all, oh, yeah, Kenny's back. Everybody hated him the first 5 weeks. Now all of a sudden, because Joe Shane says, fingers crossed he comes back and he's healthy, everyone's like, get on board. It's like this fan base blows with the wind, you know what I mean? Like, what is it? F that guy, right? Wind blows this way. Joe Shane goes, high five Kenny. Oh, we love Kenny. You know what I mean? It's just...
Well, here's the thing with Kenny Golladay, because, like, with me, I'm definitely not one of those people. Kenny Golladay got to get on the field and show me something. But at the end of the day, I think with some of these fans with the flip flopping, what that is because you watch how bad the receiver play on the field for the New York Giants is. That now anything
Yeah, but
just
he was a
feels
part of
better.
that in
You
the
know what
first
I mean?
5 weeks.
anything feels better than what they've seen the last couple of
That's what
weeks
I
in
mean.
particular.
Like, it's not like we're getting like Kadarius Toney back or something like that, right? A guy who's like has speed and can do something. We're getting Kenny Galladay, who every week everyone's like, this guy's not playing hard. He can't get any separation. We paid him $72 million, one catch, 22 yards. What is this guy doing? Blah 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 blah. He goes out for 5 weeks. The bums come in. And now we're like, Kenny, we need you. Oh, Kenny, come back. Like, give me a break, okay? Like, it's just. I'm sitting here watching the fan base, listening to what people said weeks 1 through 5, right? When he played the Bears, whatever that week was, he got injured. By the way, got injured on an effort block, right? On the MetLife Stadium. And everyone's like, get him out of here. I was even like, see it, Kenny, right? And now all of a sudden, boom.
And I agree, Joe. He could be a spark, but I got to see it, man, because he's shown no spark whatsoever his entire
he
tenure
played with
here.
us.
So
It's not like he came back from like Colin Johnson that we got, and we saw what he was doing. This is the same guy who couldn't get separation early on in the year. Now, granted, I like his run blocking. I love his run blocking, but Galladay, we're acting like Kenny Galladay was producing before that. He had one catch for 22 yards, and now I'm all of a sudden like, oh my God, he's the savior of the receiver.
I mean, Miz, I love your optimism, man, and I hope you're absolutely right about Kenny Galladay. But like I said, he's got to show me. I can't believe anything about Kenny Galladay until I see it on the field at this point, man.
No,
and
but Miz, you were the same guy.
Here.
You were the same. Hold on, Miz was the same guy that also said that his hip is bad. He's washed up. It's not good. But now you feel because Joe Shane came out and said Galladay is healthy. He wants to be here, and we got rid of Kadarius Toney. And all of a sudden now he's going to change who he is. The Tiger don't change his stuff. Kenny Galladay ain't coming out here with turbo boosters coming out of his ass, and he's going to now run a 4.39 and take the top off of defense. He might get more looks. That might be a different story. That's the story we can talk about. Maybe he gets more looks, but we got mad at him in the preseason for running a lazy route. Everybody hated him the first few weeks because they didn't do shit, and that Wan'Dale Robinson and Sterling Shepard had more catches. And now all of a sudden we have a bye week, and he's going to be asking that. I'm just saying, 2 weeks ago, but a few weeks ago, we also had a discussion about how the hip injury has hindered him. He thought he was shot. Don't say we didn't, because everybody was on everyone's podcast talking about it. So now Kenny Galladay, who, granted, we need him. You know, we're obviously we need him. We have no Kadarius Toney. We're not trading for any of the receivers. All right, and let's talk about what Joe Shane did right there, because I think that's big news, and at least on our realm. Right?
Absolutely.
They didn't make any trades for a receiver. Now they bring in Isaiah Hodgins, a guy off the Bills practice squad, and there's rumors about Odell Beckham Jr. I mean, like, what are we talking about here? If you want to make a run, then make a run. Go get a guy. Do something. Don't flirt with guys who are out of the league or all this. They're staying pat with what they got. And all I'm saying is that Kenny Galladay, to me, he's here, great, but I don't think he's changing this team all of a sudden.
I mean, I agree. I just don't see it. And Joseph Dice, we got rid of Kadarius Toney because it was the move that needed to be made. Kadarius Toney didn't seem to want to be part. He was uninvested, didn't seem to want to be a part of what was going on here, and it was just the best thing for the New York Giants to do was to pull that trigger, make that move, and get some extra draft capital for it. So I'm at peace with that move. I'm good with it. Definitely not gonna get that reaction when Gettleman traded Odell Beckham. You know, you're not gonna get that kind of reaction from me here over Kadarius Toney. You know, good luck to him out in Kansas City. That's all I got to say.
Well, watch him ball out there too. He's going to be a beast. But you know, I'm not worried about it. You know, I think because what happened here is this, right? Giants trade Kadarius Toney. Oh snap! right? Then it's like, oh, the trade deadline. Giants are probably interested in this guy, or they're interested in this guy, and they need this guy. Oh, we're going to take those Tony picks, and we're going to trade them for a third-round pick for Jerry Jeudy. Well, you know what happened on trade day? I woke up on trade day, and I thought to myself, Kadarius Toney, who has done damn near nothing on the Giants, netted the Giants a third round. Now you want to call up the Denver Broncos and get a guy who's played, hasn't been injured, and is also a first-round pick, and now you're going, hey, we only want to give you a round pick, man. That's all we want to give you. They're going to be like, you just fleeced the Kansas City Chiefs for at least a third and a sixth. You're not getting Jerry Jeudy for anything less than that, right? And look at Chase Claypool. He was a second-round pick. He got traded for a second-round pick. That rarely happens. So when the trade deadline was coming, that's why I kind of figured, like, if you're not going to do anything, the guy that you're looking at is like a Jeudy or a guy that you're going to bring in here to be better. Now, you got to ask yourself this question. Would Jerry Jeudy be better than a second-round pick in the NFL draft? That's the question you have to ask yourself.
I mean, most likely you would think yes.
Okay, well, then if that's the case, then you make the trade. I see where Joe Shane is going with this. He's not going to compromise the future because he knows this team has some weaknesses and some holes. And let's be honest, you know, if you loved if you really loved your quarterback, you would have got him a receiver and said, all right, Daniel, take us to the promised land. We're going to risk the future, try to get this biscuit for you, and we'll figure everything else out. Instead, they said no, and they stood pat, which I don't know what that means. I'm not going to predetermine anything. I'm not going to say he may not be here, he will be here. That's a discussion for another day. All I'm saying is it's interesting that they didn't make a move of that nature. Now they're trying to make a move for Odell, which is not really a future move. Like, you know, it's not a future move. That's a, hey, let's win right now.
Right now, all things I'm hearing, K, man, it looks like I mean, it's a possibility. Right now, I mean, you never know. We'll see.
I don't think he gets
couple more weeks.
We'll see, man. I was in the Twitter space, and this is a problem for me. I was in Twitter space, and that's a new thing for me. I'm an old man. I'm hip to these new things, you know, these Twitter spaces and stuff. So I went on there, listened to a couple of Giants things. And they were talking about Daniel Jones specifically, and I guess we'll address the elephant in the room before we jump into the previews of next week and kind of give you our assessments on the teams at the halfway point. I was in this space, and they came up to us, and first let's see what it said. I told them that I don't think Daniel Jones is doing anything spectacular in this offense, right? So that's one of the things that I feel. So I feel that you could put in Marcus Mariota, who's doing the exact same thing in Atlanta, put him in this offense, and he'd have similar numbers to what Daniel's doing and have similar production to what we're getting out of Daniel right now. Why? Go look at Atlanta. Same exact fucking offense. Guy does the same thing, right? You know how much Marcus Mariota's getting paid? $6 million. Then it escalates to $12 million. My point is this. If I can get the same production that's less money, I'm going to do it. Financially, it makes sense to do it, especially if you want to build this team. And because he has those draft capital, looks like he might want to build this team. So just keep that in mind.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he put Marcus Mariota in this offense. I don't know, man, if I agree with that. Marcus Mariota, to me,
look at the numbers. I'm telling you, Mac, look at the numbers. Look at his play. He's not doing anything different than what he's doing. And you're giving him a better team, right? The Giants are obviously a better O-line than them. Right?
Yeah, better O-line. But they got better skill players, at least out wide anyway. I mean,
I'm just saying. I think you could put him in this offense. He does the same skill set as Daniel Jones. He has same kind of vision. He's not stupid. He's not going to put the ball in harm's way. He can run your RPO offense. I think it would be a similar skill set. That's what I'm saying. Well, you're probably going to get the same thing. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I don't know. It's gonna be tough, man. I think Daniel Jones got to do some really special things to definitely.
But that's what I'm
safety on this roster going forward.
Kenny Golladay ain't giving him special things. Here's the problem with Kenny Golladay. They didn't use him correctly now. So now what are they going to do? They're going to listen to the fans put in Kenny Golladay and start force-feeding him the football because that works? Because now everyone's going to know, hey, Golladay is not being hidden anymore. He's going to be out there. I'm just saying, if you want to bring in Odell Beckham Jr., if you want to bring in Odell, okay, Odell doesn't know the damn offense. And you're not getting Odell from, 2015 Odell. You're getting the guy who's coming off a bum leg playing on MetLife Stadium turf, which, I cringe every time he runs. You know what I mean? And so now, if he runs on our turf and sticks and God forbid gets injured, I would not be able to live with myself. I mean, I don't think he's washed, but to get him off a knee injury in November and then expect him to be this all-world guy that quick, I think is a pipe dream.
I mean, I don't think people have shit. I don't hope people don't have those kind of expectations. But Odell Beckham should have no bad blood with this regime, especially because they're not the ones that traded him away. He has not worked at all with this regime. Hell, most of the players on this team was not even teammates with. So this is a whole different giant team than the one Odell Beckham played for.
Well, I mean, is there a possibility? Yes. Landon Collins came back, but he didn't do anything in this game against Seattle. Now let's flip it over to the defensive side because I think we went on a tangent. Let's talk about the game a little bit more. Seattle had a good game plan. Offensively, they took out everything that Danny does well, right? They took out everything that Barkley does well. And the offensive line, John Feliciano, I'm sorry. We need to go shopping for a center. And I'm not talking about fucking Walmart in the bargain bin. I'm talking about maybe we need to go up to Macy's and, maybe Saks or Neiman Marcus, something like that, where we need to get a little bit better quality center. Because right now, I don't care if that means you're moving Nick Gates to center. And I don't want to do it right now because I don't want to put that much pressure on his leg right out the gate. No pun intended. But damn, give me a better center because he's going to cost us a game.
I definitely agree. That center position needs to be upgraded big time. The middle of that O-line in general has been dicey most of the season. The interior O-line, I feel like we're pretty set at the tackles, especially we get Evan Neal back in the lineup at right tackle. Andrew Thomas is playing at just an all-pro level, like maybe arguably can make a case he's the best left tackle in football this season, at least right now. He's just been balling. Had another great game. The crazy part is that Andrew Thomas was our best offensive player on Sunday, and that's just kind of tough when you take away from a game that your best offensive player was your offensive lineman, a left tackle. So
I don't want to nitpick on the offense, but the defense, they played admirably. They had some breakdowns in coverage and things like that. That's going to happen. Turned a couple times on double move. Wink was playing a little bit more zone than he normally plays, which I thought was kind of out of their element. Because if you're going to attack, just attack. Although Geno Smith was really playing well, he really manipulated the pocket well. He really played a clean game. Like, that guy did not put the ball in harm's way at all. There was not like a DB where you're like, oh, you should have picked that off. He didn't put the ball anywhere near that. It was just a clean, efficient game. And I hate to say he outplayed our quarterback. I never thought I'd say Geno Smith would outplay a quarterback on the Giants, but he clearly did that. And their game plan was good. Defense did its job, right? They stopped Kenneth Walker for the most part, bobbled him up a little bit. But Geno Smith and those receivers and that passing game beat us. And Richie James.
I don't want to take away from what Geno Smith has done this season, but like I said, in this game here, he played a very smart game. He took exactly what the New York Giants defense gave him, and he didn't force a damn thing. You know what I mean? And it was a good, efficient game, but he didn't have like gaudy numbers. You know what I mean? By no means, but like you say, he did enough to get the job done. It was clean, it was efficient, and it was effective. He played a typical game like Daniel Jones, other than the running aspect, obviously, but. As far as the passing numbers, he played a typical Daniel Jones type of game.
We could talk about efficiency. We could talk about that too. To me, the passes that Geno missed were more drop related than either defense related or just errant pass related. Right? He threw to Lockett dropped the ball. He threw to Metcalf couldn't reel. Two of them was like a dive he missed. And another one was like in his arms. Meanwhile, Daniel misses guy up the sideline, clear as day. Nobody around the tight end. You got to hit him in stride. It's a walk-in touchdown or a big gainer. Second thing, he rolls out to Matt Breida. Breida's up the sideline and misses him. Not even puts it in the vicinity. What I'm saying is, if you at least Geno's putting in the vicinity of these guys to try to make a play. You're not even putting it in the vicinity of a guy to make a play. And those are the things you need to do. And sometimes, I know it doesn't happen every game, but sometimes we need you when the rest of the team is struggling. And he didn't come through, for me at least, on Sunday enough. I know he
Hold
has
on,
lack.
hold on. Hold on.
Here we go.
Are we talking about Saquon Barkley, Texas boy?
What is
We
happening?
talking
What am
about
I?
are we talking about Saquon Barkley is trash? Are you
Oh boy.
kidding me?
Oh boy. You know what? You can laugh at our quarterback, but our running back is all pro, man.
Yeah, I mean, you crack jokes you went on Daniel Jones, ha ha ha. We can laugh, okay, laugh with you a little bit. Saquon Barkley is legit, bro. Come on, man.
I mean,
Come on.
don't get me wrong, I like Tony Pollard, but he is not the caliber of back that Barkley is. He is very
not even,
explosive.
not even close.
He's
Not even
explosive.
close.
I told you. I said, and let's. You know what? Enough with the Giants. Let's talk about the state of the team. We'll start with the Cowboys, right? Since we're on there, we'll talk about the running backs and their position. I think Tony Pollard is a field flipper. What I mean by that is you have the ball on your 20-yard line, he can quickly get through a hole and get you to the 50-yard line real quick, and that he won't do the dirty runs. But I think he's more of a home run threat right now than Barkley. Barkley right now is playing a smart, efficient running back game. He takes what the defense gives him. If he can get into the open field, he's going to make a move and try to score. Pollard, on the other hand, is doing a little differently. They're two different runners. It's basically pick your poison, right? Who you want? You like Barkley? Great. You like Pollard? Great. They're both phenomenal backs.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't know you was just messing around. I thought you was actually being dead serious, brother. But I was just like, Barkley?
Yeah, you had that. I was in the middle of talking
just,
my shit. I was like, oh my God, like what happened? What did I do? What chord did I strike with Daniel now? And it happened to be about Barkley, which is funny.
No, I wouldn't call Barkley a pounder. Barkley's a home run hitter too, brother. Barkley is definitely a home run hitter, man. That's what he
No, he
does.
is. He is. What I'm saying is that he's an all tool player. He can hit a single, a double, a triple, and a home run. Pollard has one swing. He's a power hitter. Basically, he's a home run hitter. So you're trying to put him in the game to get that explosive play, and that's what he does. Barkley is an explosive player, but he's learned how to hit the singles, how to get the doubles. You know, the stuff that we were worried about him doing, he's finally starting to do it. That's why I think he's more of a complete back right now.
I definitely agree with that. I mean, Tony Pollard is nice. He's a very explosive young player, man. But
So what do we think
man,
of the Cowboys going forward?
I think that the Cowboys going forward, man. I think they're getting, like I said, they're getting healthy again at the right time. Got the quarterback back, got their receivers back, and you saw what they did on Sunday. Like I said, it was against just the Bears, but at the same time, they stepped on the Bears' throat in the second half of that football game and really put them away. So I think the Cowboys are going to be a very dangerous team down the line with that defense, that ability to rush the passer. Michael Parsons just an absolute game wrecker, man. So the Cowboys are going to be a tough team to deal with, and they can run the football. They're starting to commit a little bit more to the run, man. And Zeke will only help that run game a little bit because he wasn't like he was playing absolutely horrible. Just that he's just not that explosive player anymore. So once
They
you
know
get
how to
him
pick
back in the
offensive
mix
linemen, don't they?
with Tony, what'd you say?
They know how to pick offensive linemen, don't they?
They do, because at the
I mean,
same
that kid's playing out of his mind.
Everybody talked about how bad their O line was going to be because of the injuries they had to the O line, but nah, it's a lot better, significantly better than anybody was giving them credit for, and they're getting the job done. They're not getting out. They're out there getting their quarterbacks killed, no matter who was back there, Dak or Cooper Rush. They're not. Other than that first game against Tampa Bay, that was a rough night for that offensive line. But other than that, they've cleaned it up ever since then.
I mean, Dallas can beat Green Bay, and Dallas can beat the Titans. I mean, we can. We have less talent than them. So I'm not going in there thinking they have no chance in these games. You know, I know it's going to be tough. Green Bay is always tough, but I do believe Dallas can beat them, and they need to beat them because the Giants beat them. You know, now it becomes a race to the finish. Right now, with three teams where they are, it's a race to the finish. Every win's going to matter. Every game is going to matter. I mean, they played the Bears. But see, here's the difference, Miz. They played the Bears and dropped 49 on them. We played the Bears and barely scored 27. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I mean. We want to laugh and talk about the Cowboys not being able. They put up 49. They put up the highest point total in the NFL this season.
I mean, yeah, I think this Cowboy team will be dangerous. I think this will be the team that the Eagles have to worry about the most going forward. Honestly, I do. I mean, as much as I love another New York Giants. Obviously, this our roster is just I don't
You don't
expect
think
that to
they're going to beat
stack
the
up.
Green Bay Packers, Miz? Is that what you're saying?
The Packers are due. The Packers are absolutely due. So that you never know, man. What could happen coming out the bye for the Cowboys, man? The Packers are due for a L. They've went on a 4-game losing streak or something. Is it 4 games now in a row
One
that
of
they
the next two.
lost?
That's an easy bet. That's an easy money bet. I mean, that means that's a 50-50 chance. You want to bet, do something like they're going to lose, they're going to win both in a row. That's a bet, you know?
What's going
Yeah,
on?
well, hey,
What's going
they're going to
on,
win
Big
one of
Simple?
two. Oh, 50-50 chance of winning or losing. Like,
You
I'm
know
just
you
saying.
excited, man. Washington back doing their thing a little bit, man. Big Simple, thanks for stopping in, bro. Good to see you, man. Big content creator for the Washington Commanders right there. Big Simple 422, man. You guys sub up to that
Well,
guy, man. Brings a whole lot of energy for them Washington Commanders, man.
yeah, I know. That's not a bet. One of the next two is not a bet. Saying that they're going to win both those games is a bet or lose both those games. I can see them winning and losing one of those games. It's not a thing. I just don't think they're. Don't think they're worried about the Green Bay Packers. I just don't. I don't.
I mean, they
And
might not
Tennessee's good,
be,
but
but
I'm looking
that
at
would
it
be
like this.
dangerous
Are we
because
are we
Green Bay
that much?
coming off of 4 L's.
Listen,
Go ahead.
listen.
Go ahead.
Cowboys are a team that beat us, right? So you're saying to me that they can't now go beat Tennessee, or they can't beat Green Bay. Green Bay is in a spiral.
Well, here's this. Green Bay is in a spiral, and they're due, and you never know what can happen in
Where's
that
the
game.
game?
Honestly,
Where's the game?
I'm not sure where they're playing at, but
The game
also
is
the
in
Tennessee.
Lambeau Field. The game is in Lambeau Field this Sunday.
See,
We'll find
see.
out. We'll
Nah, it's
find out
not
on
this Sunday.
Sunday.
They play next. It must be next Sunday because they got to buy this week.
Next Sunday. Oh, I don't think they'll. I think they'll have plenty of time to, unless I don't know who Green Bay plays. Maybe Green Bay
Adam, but you
wins. I
know
don't know.
better. You know just as well as I do. That's why they play the game, man. And you think Green Bay not
Look,
going to be itching for it? Itch. They're not going. They're going to be itching too, man. They have been struggling and they need a W desperately, man. And
so do the
to have it
Cowboys. It doesn't just
to
end
say,
just because.
well, I get it. They both do, but the Green Bay is desperate. They desperate. You know what I mean? Like it's.
Well, we'll find
They've
out. Like I
been,
said, if they win this game on Sunday, right, they're back
and
in the
then
race. They lose this game on
and
Sunday, the
then
wheels are falling off the bus.
and then Tennessee. The Cowboys are playing a better Tennessee Titans team than we played week 1. So I wouldn't really. I don't know if we can make that same
That game,
comparison.
if you want to tell me they lose that game, I can give you that. But Green Bay, I'm not necessarily think they're really worried about Green Bay because the Packers play. Who do the Packers play? Let's see. Maybe they might be on a bye week too. I don't know.
I hope not.
The
It's going to
Packers
affect my
play.
fantasy lineup badly.
The Packers play. Let's see.
Oh, they got a bye. They're on a bye.
They're on a
I
bye
don't see
week.
them
Oh
down
no,
there
they're
anyway.
not. No, they're not. They play the Lions on Sunday.
Oh no, yeah, they do.
They play the Lions on Sunday,
See,
and then the Cowboys.
they
So
can
the
get some
Packers.
get some get right there.
Okay, so the Packers are 3-5. They'll be 4-5. Okay, going into that game against the Cowboys, and we'll see what happens. Maybe the Green Bay, you might be right, is desperate to lose that game. I just think the Cowboys are a better team. That's all.
Damn, Randy, you said you shoveling snow, brother. Oh my goodness, glad I ain't
Wow,
where you at.
where the heck you at?
Big Simple, man. I don't. We answered this question earlier, actually. I don't think so. I don't see it. I don't think all 4 teams is gonna make it, man. It's tough to get all 4. It would be tough to get all 4 teams from the division in.
If
Even though, I mean, it's
Washington wins
possible.
this week, they'll get in. That's what I'll say.
It's
If Washington
possible.
wins this week, I can see them getting
It's definitely possible. But yeah, But yeah, going forward though, the Dallas team I do believe will be dangerous down the stretch, and I think, my opinion, I think that's going to be the Eagles' biggest, the team they got to worry about the most. That's my opinion. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, how things go. But Dallas, I feel like is built to beat the Philadelphia Eagles, man. If anybody can contend with them, I think it's the Dallas Cowboys for sure. So we can since we can talk about Washington, man. Their first half, how things been going with them and what they got to look forward to. for the
They're
next half of
and
this season,
they're
man.
a 500 ball club, and at this point, I'm pretty sure they're ready to be a 500 ball club because of what happened with their team. Right? I mean, think about it. Their quarterback goes down. Everyone's going down. No one's picking them to win after the first few games. They're like 2-4. Basically thinking they're out of it. Their quarterback is benched due to injury, but benched nonetheless. And the backup comes in and it renews them, right? So do I think they're going to playoffs? No, but I think they have a better chance now than they did before. And like I said, it's going to be a fight. They play the 49ers, who's a team they'll be in line with. They play the Giants as well, a team that they probably think they can match up well against. So, there's going to be opportunities for them. Will they punch it in and will they cash in? That's I think the other teams have already put a bit of a cushion where they can drop a couple games here and there, and they'll still be in the playoffs in the long run.
I mean, yeah, I think just the addition of Taylor Heineke is just giving this team a new energy, man. It just really has. It's they're responding to that whatever he's saying in the huddle. He's commanding that huddle. Whatever he's saying, they are responding to. It's like I said, like a whole new team, and then getting Chase Young back, like we talked about earlier, changes things for him defensively. I believe probably get that defense playing a lot better than what they've been doing all season. Like I said, if they just get that, if they can just make maybe a little bit more of a commitment to their run game off on the offense, I think this team could potentially make some noise second half of the season. Even though they do have a fairly tough schedule, you know, I think they might have what it takes, man. Because like I said, whatever it is about Taylor Heineke, man, this team seems maybe it makes you wonder that maybe they shouldn't have went away from him, and this whole season could be a lot different for them right now too as well if they would have been playing Taylor Heineke all year because it just looks like much better offense, and they look a better team with Taylor Heineke leading the way, man. And he has his confidence about him too as well, man. Maybe he has that chip on his shoulder. He plays like everybody keeps doubting me, thinking I'm just a backup and this, that, and the other. And he goes out there and he plays with good confidence, man, and he gets the job done, man. So I can't knock whatever it is. Like I said, Taylor Heineke, it's his job the rest of the way as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't even look back at Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, man, you at the back of the bus, and you know what? To be quite frank, you may never get another starting job in the NFL ever again, man. You might have just exhausted
Well,
the
he'll be
capital.
a big backup. He'll be one of those pricey
Oh
backups.
yeah, absolutely. If he's willing to do that, willing to play that part, don't let his ego get in the way. You got to understand. Sometimes you got to play your role, man, and your role might just be as a backup quarterback going forward, Carson Wentz, because I can't see another team throwing starter money at him ever again.
Well, it's one of those things where he'll be traded, as a backup to give him one last thing. Like look at Andy Dalton right now; he's the starter in New Orleans. And I said a few weeks ago to somebody in a conversation, I said, Andy Dalton's going to be the starter now for the rest of the year, and bingo bango, he's the starter for the rest of the year, which isn't saying much, but for the Washington Commanders, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right, man, Iceberg, man, y'all got that, man. I mean, I get it. You know how it is when you
Who
got to
cares? Why are we still talking about this shit?
drum
Like, give a
drum
shit.
up the old, the old stats,
Oh my God, we got 5 Super
you
Bowls. Give me a
know.
break.
I get it. I
Like,
get
I,
it.
lo- I love that you're in the chat, and this
I
is
was,
great, and it's just funny
I mean,
because I'm just not
I
even.
was in
I
my, I
didn't
was
even
in,
know.
I was still in school the last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl, and I'm 45 now. So let's put that into
Oh,
perspective.
burn!
So let's put that into perspective. But we can get ready to
Jalen
move on
Hurts is
from the
in an
Cowboys.
RPO kindergarten system. Iceberg, what do
One
you
thing
think?
about Washington, real quick. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What you saying?
I said Jalen Hurts is in an RPO kindergarten system. I said, well, then what does he think Daniel Jones is in? I'm just curious, his thoughts.
Well, Washington does have a game this Sunday. One of two NFC
Well,
East teams that actually have a game this week. Minnesota Vikings visiting the Washington Commanders. How you feel about this one for the Washington, man?
like I said, if I don't think they're going to win, but if they were to somehow, because Minnesota, you want to talk about history, Minnesota has a history of doing this to us. Teasing us the first 6 weeks and then absolutely collapsing down the stretch. And if we want to take this Minnesota team seriously, they need to beat this Washington Commander team. And if they don't, then I think think Commanders will win, but I will be in the playoffs. I just don't think they're going to win this thing. I think this is not Mike Zimmer's Vikings. They're a little bit better. Kirk Cousins is playing at a high level. Their defense is good. They have 2 running backs that are playing pretty well. I think this is why we play the games, right? It's really hard for me because they're going to Minnesota. If this were in Washington, I give the Commanders a better shot. Oh, they are. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to say upset special here. They're going to win. The Washington Commanders saved their season this Sunday.
I agree. I actually agree with that assessment. I think that the Washington Commanders pull off the upset here and knock off the Minnesota Vikings and just keep that turnaround, their season turnaround going, man. I think they just keep help pacing the way for this NFC East division, just asserting their dominance over the league right now, to be quite frank. And I think I see Washington pulling off the upset. Minnesota's just, like you said, something about that team. Like they just always have a way, man. They always have a way
letting you down.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like that's going to begin starting this week right here against Washington, man.
Like that's just how I feel when I watch Minnesota every year. It's like they always come out to the big leads, or they'll have a disappointing loss like in the playoffs. Like look what they did the one year when they went to the NFC Championship game and lost to the Eagles. They had that miracle game, and then we haven't seen them back. Or they'll start out good with Kirk Cousins, and he'll get injured, and then they're out. They get beat by Green Bay, and then they get beat by the Lions, and next thing you know, boom, they're out of the playoff picture. So this could be that game where to me, it's like it's a tale of 2 teams. If Washington wins, I think they have a better shot of getting to the playoffs, and I think they end up there because they get confidence, and that's a confidence builder. But I also see Minnesota needs this game to build confidence and start to believe that they're a legitimate Super Bowl contender. Because right now, we just save them as a 6-2 football team. I think they're 6-2. That could be 7-1. I could be mistaken. 6-2 football.
Yeah, Iceberg. When I said I was in school, I meant my first year in college. I wasn't in high school still. It was my first year in college. I was when the last time the Cowboys won when they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? That Neil O'Donnell game throwing them interceptions right at that Cowboys.
Neil O'Donnell, that's a name that'll live in Dallas lore forever. Right? I mean,
that won the MVP. That dude that won the MVP of the Super Bowl got the MVP award because Neil
Larry Brown
threw him 2 layups for interceptions. Yeah,
Larry Brown.
That was
but that's what I'm saying. Like Minnesota is one of those teams where I can see them blowing it.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, realistically, that's what they should. You would think that's what they would do based off of what you've seen this season from both of these football teams. But Minnesota has a history, and I think Washington is playing a lot better football with Taylor Heineke at quarterback, much more determined football. And to be honest, each week they're playing more for their life, man, to sustain and to stay relevant in this season. So I think they feel like right now, currently, in this current week, they got a little bit more to play for. You know what I mean? Minnesota, little hungry, might be a little hungrier than Minnesota, and that's how I think they're gonna pull the upset off.
That's why they play the games. It's gonna be fun,
and that's exactly why they play the games. But definitely can move on to the We're gonna go to the field. Talk a little bit about the Philadelphia Eagles real quick, man. About the state of this franchise right now through the first half of the season, which has been a perfect first half.
Why don't you start off? Because I'm about to lose power on my computer, so I'm going to switch devices real quick. So why don't you start off?
Right on. So the Philadelphia Eagles, man, sitting at 7-0. And most likely on their way to 8-0 tomorrow night, man, against the Houston Texans. This team, man, look, like I said, it pains me to admit it, but this team is really, really good, man. Really, really good. Definitely by far the best team in the NFC conference, at least. I do think the Buffalo Bills, I would edge Buffalo Bills over them overall. But they're definitely the best team in the NFC conference, man, for right now. And they're looking like a machine, so they're looking like a machine right now.
That's me. I'm back.
Yeah, looking like a machine right now. So I don't know. Right now, it's hard to see what's going to stop this team in the NFC. Looking like they're definitely poised to make a long run deep into the postseason. I mean, like I said, I think with this team at this point now, health is going to be the key. Health is what's going to matter for this team. As long as they stay healthy, man, I think I don't. It's going to be hard for me to see anybody really truly stopping this team because when they're clicking on all cylinders, man, they're
And do
just
you
a
think
tough team to
do you
beat.
think they rest guys? Do you think they'll be well enough off where they can rest guys come Sunday, January for the Giants? Because if you think about it, you just said the Cowboys are the team to contend with them. If that's the case,
All right.
then that means they have to be in contention to the end of the year. So if they're not, do you think they would rest their starters for that health reason? Or do you think they just want to beat the brakes off the Giants just to beat the brakes off the Giants?
Well, I think in a division game like that, end of the year rivalry game, you're gonna play your starters a little bit at the very least. You know what I mean? You're not gonna completely rest them because for sure, but just because of this, the nature of the rivalry, you're gonna want them. You just want to go out there and make some form of a statement. Plus, I'm not a
If they're on
believer
a
in that resting guys too much because you want to keep guys. You know what I mean? Invested in it. Unless guys are legitimate to have injuries or something like that, that's different. Like things you want to give them a little extra. Certain guys a little bit of extra rest to heal up some nagging little injuries. That's one thing. But
right.
just to be resting a healthy guy just because I don't want to take a risk of you getting hurt. This is football, man. People get hurt, man. It's a rough sport. It's a contact sport.
Well, yeah, you
That's what it's
signed up
all
for
about,
17
man.
games.
Exactly. So
You signed up for all 17. I'm sorry, that's in your contract. It's like them telling me, hey, you signed up to work for a year, but you want to take the 12 months off. You know what? I just want to take all of December. So you signed to work for 12. Oh, sorry, I don't feel like doing it. No, honor your contract, play. I don't care about fantasy. It's not one of those things where for me, I'm worried about fantasy. I don't care.
well,
I
week
just believe.
17 have no fantasy impact in week 17.
Oh, well, see, that's how stupid I am with fantasy, right? So my point is, they just play, have a good time, and I think you're onto something, Mac. Because if let's say the Eagles, I know people don't want to hear this, but they're 7-0 right now, right? 8-0 right now, right? I don't even know what the record is at this point.
They're 7-0, but you might as well put the 8-0 down.
Right,
'Cause I
8-0.
can't see them losing to Houston tomorrow night.
Okay, so 8-0, right? You got to think that if they lose a few games, they're still going to end up 11-6, 12-5 at the worst, probably with the schedule coming up. I know they have some divisional games, but if that's the case, they might be the number one seed in the NFC conference, which means they might get a bye. So that last game could be, a long time until they play football, right? So you may not want to rest your guys because if they are the number one seed, you're going to have 2 weeks off basically to prepare. And that's, if you're in a rhythm, like you said, Mac, I hate taking guys out of a rhythm. So play your guy.
Absolutely. And also for us, the fans, damn it, them tickets ain't
Yeah.
cheap. I didn't show up
Exactly.
to see whoever bum that third string bum you want to play because you want to sit Miles Sanders down for no reason because you just want to. I
Right.
don't pay my money to see whoever
That's why I hate the NBA.
out there.
That's why I hate the NBA. They do that all the time. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're playing the Pelicans this year. We don't need to worry about the fans who paid money. It's okay. We'll sit you, LeBron. We'll sit you, Kevin Durant, Kyrie, whoever. We'll sit you.
Hey,
No.
I'm going to show up to
Meanwhile,
the stadium, pay $50, $60 to park my damn car. You know what I mean? I want
Right.
to go inside and see the guys I want to see the stars. I don't want to see.
it's like going to a boxing match and they replace the guy with like the sparring partner. Well, you paid money to see Mike Tyson, but we're going to give you his sparring partner instead.
to see AJ Brown, not Todd Pinkston. You know what I mean? Like, come on, give me a break.
That is a name I haven't heard in years. Todd Stinkston. Oh my God, what a name! But yeah, Philadelphia's. They're doing their thing. They're going to have probably a strong second half. I don't see them losing too much. Right? I mean, they didn't lose the beginning of the year. I don't think they're going to lose at the end. Really, I think I'm going to say probably 12 games. I could see them winning. The worst case 11. And like I just don't see it. I just don't see that they're going to just then go like lose 8 games or 9 games. I can't see that happen. So I'm going to say about let's say they win. So I think they win, and then I think they can beat 4 more teams on the schedule. Let's say they beat the Giants. That's another win. They can probably beat the Cowboys. There's another win. And then whoever else they play, there's a couple other wins in there that they can get. So I can see this team easily being 12-5.
Yeah, the Eagles have not played the Giants yet. We don't play the Eagles. Giants and Eagles don't have their first game until December, I believe. Yeah, not until December.
December 11th.
So
It'll be interesting what will be happening.
Still got a ways to go. Depending on how things go, that game could potentially be flexed. Depending on how things go for the New York Giants.
It's pretty much going to be flexed, man. It's going to be flexed. If you're an old person, get ready because it's going to be flexed. I'm just saying they're not going to have anybody else playing on there.
Yeah, so as long as the Giants don't absolutely start stinking up the next few weeks, man, that'll be a really big game that week, probably, most likely than not. So we will see. But yeah, Eagles are really good, and that's it.
Stop saying that, man.
I'm tired of saying it, but
it's the truth, though. It's the truth. We don't say anything but the truth on this show.
It's why it's called The Real Deal, NFC East Round-Up. Yeah, the Eagles are good. So, but now let's get one. And then, I forgot about that. They are the other NFC East team with the game this week. Thursday Night Football going down to Houston Texans. Could be a possible closeout game for the Phillies as well for the World Series. See how things go tonight with the Phillies. If they can knock off Houston tonight, tomorrow night will be a closeout game in the World Series. The city of Philly is absolutely rocking and rolling. And I think the Eagles are going to go down to Houston and destroy the Texans because they are significantly better. They are a 14-point favorite on the road. That tells you everything you need to know.
14 points, my God. You know they're going to cover that.
Favorite on the road.
You know they're going to cover that spread. Jeez, they're going to cover that spread big time. Wow.
So
crazy.
Yeah, I think pretty sure we both got the Eagles winning this one in pretty impressive fashion.
Yeah, I do believe so.
Yeah. So enough of that. The New York Football Giants now, man. First half of this season has been nothing like most people thought. I mean, I think a lot of people that probably the most casual fans probably had the New York Giants maybe at best 500 at this point.
Yeah.
At best.
Yep.
And that would have been if they were playing above the numbers.
That was my thought process. I thought at best this team would be a 500 ball club. And here we are, 2 games ahead of.
100% agree with you, Iceberg, on this one. I agree with you right now, man. I know it's only his first half. He's only coached a half a season, but he is just something. You can know when a guy is special, man. I think the Giants got a special guy on that sideline right now, Brian Davis.
Yep, man. He's solid. Well, I would say both him and Joe Shane are solid. I like both the acquisitions. The tandem is pretty good duo together. I think they're going to eventually, when they put their plan together. So let's talk about this plan. Right, the trade deadline has gone, and the Giants did not make a move, which, some people are happy about, some people are, angry about, and some people just don't give a damn. And for those who care, like I look at it at both sides. I could see them making a move, and I could see them not making a move. But the move that they didn't want to move valuable assets. They got assets as well, and we'll see what happens now. I think, like I said, I do believe they have assets because I do believe in their plan of plans. They're going to move up and get somebody if they deem a quarterback as necessary. I don't think, like I tell you guys all the time, this guy is not. He's doing things that regular quarterbacks do. Look at Marcus Mariota. He won them that game against Carolina. He's got the same numbers. He's not doing much. They have a better talent. Their defense is not as good. Right, and yet they're winning their football games. Okay, and he's not doing that much more. He's playing within a system and it works for him. And Marcus Mariota has the same numbers: 10 touchdowns and 3 rushing touchdowns, and he has 1,400 yards, just like Daniel Jones. So I'm saying, and he's running similar stuff. I watched the game today, the Carolina game. He's running very similar stuff. So my point is that they probably wanted to keep him to, one, add players because they need them. Two, to also have a chance at a trade up if they wanted to. Having all your draft capital really allows you to do that come April. I know that 3rd round pick is like a 4th round pick, but it's still a 3rd round pick.
I mean, absolutely. And the point is, like I said, that was good. I mean, considering what Kadarius Toney has shown in this league, and sure, who cares what he might? I don't even care what he does over in Kansas City. What he's done for the New York Giants, I feel like we got good value for considering what he's put on tape for the New York Giants right now. In his year and a half here with New York. So I'm good with that. Extra draft capital it's about what you do with those picks. You know what I mean? And it gives you more. It gives you extra pieces to trade to make some more moves within the draft and whatever. You know what I mean? So it all can work out. Joe Shane looked like he did a pretty decent job with the draft last season. I mean, in this past April. I mean, we got a couple unfortunate injuries, so we didn't get to see how some of these guys were going to pan out. But he definitely looked like he did pretty good up in the top end of the draft. I mean, 1st round, Thibodeau, Evan Neal look like they're going to be players. They're still not where we need them to be right now, obviously, but they're young rookies and they look like they're going to be players. Wan'Dale Robinson, he definitely could have a role, but he's just not he's not going to ever be that lead guy, that top guy in your wide receiving core. But he can definitely be a good guy with some other pieces around it to help open things up for him. Daniel Bellinger, the tight end in the 4th round, like I said, looking like he's looking like right now, as of right now at this point in the season, maybe the best of the draft picks from the New York Giants this past April. Unfortunately, he's nursing the injury right now. The eye thing's had the eye surgery, so hopefully get Giants and get him back in the lineup soon. But I think part of a lot of the big reason Joe Shane didn't really pull that trigger because he wasn't going to overpay for anybody. Like Chicago gave Pittsburgh a 2nd round pick for Chase Claypool. There's no way Joe Shane was pulling that trigger for a 2nd round pick. Chase Claypool was one of the names swirling around in the New York Giant rumors, but you can't convince me that Joe Shane would have been willing to give up a 2nd round pick for Chase Claypool. Not to say Chase Claypool's not worthy of that, maybe, or like you mentioned earlier about Jerry Jeudy wouldn't be better than a guy you get in the 2nd round right now. But at the same time, I think Joe Shane, he has a vision. He has his eyes on the prize. He knows what he wants, and he definitely he's focused on that, and he wants to build this team the way he's ready to build this team. And based off of what we're seeing right now with the guys that he is running out on the field, I trust in Joe Shane. I trust in Brian Daboll. I see these guys seem to have clear direction. They know what they want to do, and I'm on the train right now, man. I can't wait. Hopefully they can build something to make this New York Giant team, bring some pride back to this New York Giant organization, man.
And I agree with you there for a certain extent. I agree that they wanted to have the draft capital needed, and you don't do that. It's the same conversation we had about Leonard Williams years ago in the trade, right? Oh, you're giving up a 3rd round pick. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Well, that 3rd round pick is Aston Davis, and he doesn't really do much for the Jets. Meanwhile, we have an all-pro defensive tackle who comes to play every week, and is a staple of our defense and a captain. So, you got to look at the resources. Now, again, the reason why the Giants weren't getting anything is because they got Kadarius Toney, who did nothing, and they got a 3rd round pick. You got to think. All the guys you're talking about, Chase Claypool and all that, they've done stuff in the NFL. Chase Claypool was a 2nd round pick. They netted a 2nd round pick. Who does that? Who nets the same pick that they get for that guy? It rarely happens, And when you get a guy like Odell, you can get 2 1st round picks, right? So Tony doesn't play, 3rd round pick. There is no way you're getting Jeudy for anything less than what you pay for Tony. You're just not. You're not going to give up 1 pick. So he stood fat. Who knows what they're going to do in the draft? We don't even know where they're picking yet. We don't know what their plans are. But again, all the draft pick capital you need. They need players. I did this again. Somebody in Twitter space called me out, and they were like, well, there's 40 players under contract next year, not 20. I don't know where you got your numbers from. And I said, I got my numbers from a website that I go on every day that has updated rosters and everything like that. He's like, well, I'm on Sports Track, and they have 40 players. So you're wrong about the 20 players leaving. Well, I went on Sports Track today because I'm not stupid. I don't live under a rock. I wanted to see what was happening. And guess what? I counted 20 players' contracts ending in 2023 on March 1st of March, whatever the league year is. So yes, I was correct in what I was saying. So you want to challenge me? Bring it, because I'm going to challenge you right back. And I was right. So what that means is you're going to have a lot of players you're going to need to sign, and you're going to need those draft picks to fill in those positions. That's all. And this rebuild is a rebuild, people. We're playing with house money. But he listen to what he said. He talked to Bill Parcells, and Bill Parcells told him, basically you need to build through the draft, right? Otherwise you're not gonna sustain winning, right? So that means they're gonna build their team through the draft. Players will not be here that they don't want or that they can't afford, right now. And maybe the vision is, hey, let's trade up and get a guy, sign Daniel to a 1-year deal and get a guy to back him up. But I want to say one thing quickly before I hand the mic over to Mike. I know, Mac, I know I'm rambling, but somebody in the Twitter space said this, right? If the Giants don't want to commit 5, because they said there's 2 types of people. There's people who want to get rid of Jones, and then there's people who like Jones, but they don't want to commit the 5 years to him. Well, if you don't want to commit the 5 years to him, then what is he? Is he a bridge quarterback like Mariota? Because if that's the case, you're going to go up and get a quarterback and groom him and let him learn the system so that by the time you're good, the guy's got some experience and you can go work with him. Because to me, unless you give him a bag, and it was a good point, it's like, unless you give him a bag, what are you really doing, right? What are you really evaluating? So maybe these picks, maybe that's in their brain. I have no idea. I don't know what Joe Shane's going to do. I'm just saying, if you want to make your quarterback better now, get a receiver to help him. You didn't. And I feel bad for Daniel Jones because I think they don't really help this kid out. And I just look at it. You got Isaiah Hodges. That's the guy you want to get for him?
It just matches with everything else that's on this roster. Another guy that nobody knows. Just
that we hope that's going to make a spark. I mean, they have 3 of those guys. They have Robert Foster. They love Richie James. Everyone's like, oh, Richie James, yeah, he came for the 49ers. They know him. Well, he's gone now. Unemployment line. If I see that guy on the field on Sunday, I'm going to go to Joe Shane's house and I'm going to verbally yell at him and say, what are you doing? That's a mistake. I know that, people don't want to talk about livelihoods and all that stuff. Just get rid of the guy. He's not good. He fumbled a non-contact fumble. That's the worst kind of fumble.
Yeah, two very crucial turnovers in that game on Sunday. 2 very crucial turnovers at very bad times in the game, man, where Giants were starting to maybe have a little bit of momentum, and he just goes and just drops the ball, man. Puts the ball on the ground.
They had momentum, but people were like, oh, it's a game changer. I watched the game back when these fumbles happened. One of them happened, and they went right down the field and scored. And then the other one happened. I don't know if these are going to affect the game when they're happening, right? They affected the game because Seattle punched it in, but Seattle was leading when one of those fumbles happened, and they were up already, right, for that first fumble. So the second fumble, I have no idea if they're going to score or not. I have no idea if the game's over. There was still 7 minutes or so left in the ball game at that point, right? We have no idea what's happening. And it seemed like it seemed like the Giants.
I think the second one, not the second one, not so much, but the first one, the Giants were kind of building a little momentum at that point. Made a big defensive stop. Just came off of there. I think the Giants touchdown drive, and then they made a big defensive stop and was getting ready to get the ball right back.
Well, I think they were still down. I think they were still down 13-10 on the second fumble.
But the first fumble.
That's what I'm saying.
I felt like the Giants were potentially seizing momentum in the game at that point.
Well, the Giants took the first fumble from Lockett, and they put it in. Then they didn't do anything the rest of the first quarter. Seattle went up 10-0. Then they didn't do anything at the half. Which by the way, why are we not calling out Brian Daboll for one of the worst 2-minute offenses in the second half? In the first half of the game, they basically gave up and ran like a draw play.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you doing? Like you had a chance. you believe in your quarterback, and why aren't you going out there and trying to make a play and being aggressive? Like, oh, we're aggressive. So now you're going to be conservative?
Well, that was about as conservative as we've seen Brian Dable be all season. I don't know if he was maybe at that point just the crowd noise, how it was affecting the offense, and the offense wasn't getting much done anyway, and just said,
Mac, if this were Joe Judge, we'd be ripping that guy.
I get it, but we haven't seen that from Brian Dable all season. And given that he was out in Seattle in this situation and how the game was going, I kind of see what he was thinking.
But they had some time. They had some time. They had some time.
I agree.
They had some time and some timeouts. They could have tried to get. You have a kicker, right? A big time kicker. So why are you not trying to aggressive? Because again, you don't know. Opportunities come once in a while, right? And sometimes luck happens on your side. The thing is with the Giants getting Kenny Golladay back, let's throw the ball downfield. Try to get some PIs going because that's what the Giants lack right now. Are defensive pass interference. Why? Because they're not going downfield, and you can see why the quarterback is not great when he has to set his feet in the pocket, but you need to be aggressive. If you can't be aggressive in the side to 2 minutes and you're afraid your quarterback's going to make a mistake or these guys are going to be a bum. I know you got, off the line issues, but there's only really one guy that's out, and that's Tyler Evan Neal, right? So,
but there you go. That's the guy where you were getting offensive line issues too in this game a lot.
But it's like, but you put in what's his face? Nick Gates to help Chip. It wasn't like they were blitzing that much in the first half of the game. Seattle was basically playing a zone, dropping back, and letting the Giants come to them and making tackles when they needed to make tackles, right? And putting a little pressure here and there on him. The first half, they shut Daniel out basically passing. But then when they actually had a chance to do it, I know they were struggling passing-wise. You got to do something. Make it happen. You just gave up and kicked the play. I'm just like that. And then they go down and get the ball back, which I get. But Seattle had a big stop. They led them to a field goal. You know what I mean? These type of things need to be fixed. And they need to come out against Houston when they come back and absolutely beat the brakes off that team. I don't want to see those.
I hope that happens, but I totally agree. I hope that does happen because that's what this New York Giants team does need to do. It needs to have one of those kind of games where you really just go out there and absolutely obliterate someone, outplay them, and pretty much make somebody look bad. You know what I mean? And Houston, who better than Houston to do that to coming out the bye week?
Right. Don't let them have 10 days and come back and make them look like a competent football team because, you decided, to not play. Like, we're going to see a lot. I need to see a lot more from this offense. I don't want any more excuses anymore because let's be honest, anybody they bring in is not going to be that great. I know Odell is out there, but anybody they bring in is not really going to – this team is what they are. Right? They lack talent. It's going to show up in big spots in certain big games. You saw it against Seattle, right? They couldn't keep up with them when they score in the shootout, and Seattle already knows how to play us, so they know our weaknesses. I do not want to go back to that. Some people are like, yeah, I want to go back to that building in the wild card.
You don't want to go back there. You don't want to go back there. I don't mind
right.
playing them
right.
again. I don't want to play in Seattle.
No, right? Because the wild card right now is Seattle versus the Giants right now, and I'm like, hell no, I don't want to go back there because I already know they know how to beat us. I already know our personnel is not changing drastically where we're going to go back in there and be like, we're surprising you. Hello. You know what I mean? Like, and you can only scheme up so long before people start to catch up with you.
But let's get back to this. We've got to kind of went on another down the rabbit hole again a little bit back to that Seattle game. But let's get back to just the state of the Giants in general through the first half. There's anything else more I want to see like on the defensive side. Defensively, I want to see the pass rush. I want to see the pass rush start getting home a little bit more too. Like it's one thing to generate a little bit of pressure, and that's all well and good. But at some point we got to start getting home a little more consistently as well. Start really disrupting these quarterbacks a little bit more. Even though the pressure hasn't been bad, Thibodeau is always sniffing close to the quarterback. But we got to really start getting these guys home and starting to make some plays. And one big difference is the last couple of weeks is weird as it's going to sound. Coming out of my mouth, O'Shane Zimenez not being in the lineup as that good solid depth piece, man. He has been.
Wow.
I mean, the guy, you can't deny the step he's taking this season, man. He's definitely put together so far.
And Azim Ojulari. I would love to
Yeah,
have him back
absolutely.
too. I know some people want to ship him off because he's injured. I had a conversation with somebody. I'm not going to let him know because I don't know. I think it's a little crazy of an idea to get rid of this guy already. But they're like, oh, trade Jimenez. Cesar Dolar. He's not that good. I'm like, I don't know. If he comes back and like his first game, he came back, he had a sack fumble. Like first game back against the Bears, only guy to get
Yeah,
a sack fumble.
yeah.
Basically, he was
So
the
I
one that
mean,
turned it on. O'Shea Jimenez, I like his hustle. I don't know what it is, man. Rejuvenation, man. Rejuvenation. And you know who I'm going to give
coaching,
credit
man.
to?
It's coaching. It's coaching. It's not. It can't be. Look at some the way some of these guys have elevated on this team. It's just like look at Fabian Moreau. Talking about the defense. Look at this guy. I mean, he didn't have a great game on Sunday, but hey, they're not going to always. He's not going to always go out there and have an amazing game every week. But this guy, I wasn't familiar with Fabian Moreau before this season. I mean, he's not a guy he wasn't a household name by no means. While we were all concerned and worried about number two cornerback spot, and initially Aaron Robinson had won that job until he got injured. But Fabian Moreau has stepped in and looking like it's going to be a tough job for Aaron Robinson to get back if he ever can get back healthy this season. So I mean, I think this is what this team is responding to the coaching they're responding to, man. Just get some once you get some better actual legitimate talent, this New York Giant team could be on to something with this if this keep the coaching staff intact for the most part, which is kind of hard in today's NFL. But I think this team could be something special, man. Going with Joe Shane and trying to build down over there in New York, man. And you're right, the run defense needs to be more consistent, but that wasn't really that horrible on Sunday. Kenneth Walker, the third, he had made a couple of nice plays, especially late in the game, but overall he didn't really gash the New York Giants the way the last couple like they had been getting gashed the last couple of games prior. So
Yeah, you're right. But I still think it's going to rear its ugly head soon again because, again, the game plan, they knew what the game plan was. Seattle wasn't stupid. They knew what the game plan was. And, they gave up 100 yards, and that's going to cost us down the stretch against these teams like Dalvin Cooks of the world and the Miles Sanders of the world. We really got to button that up because if they start to get play action, Adoree Jackson loves them double moves. He loves to get bit on them double moves. So, let's do that. Fabian Moreau, I like him. I'm intrigued about signing him. I haven't decided yet. I'm 50-50 on that guy. Like, do I bring him back? He's a good depth piece. He plays special teams. He knows the defense. He's not really that much of a liability in coverage. He's not great, but, he can get the job done. He's one of those guys I'm thinking about bringing back. I will say this. McKinney had a bad game. He did not play,
he did. He was out of
McKinney
position
football
a lot in the game. He was out of position a lot.
Yes,
He
I don't know
definitely was.
why that was. I don't know if they were playing a different defense. I don't know. And Wink Martindale, I will be honest. I don't like the game plan. They played hard because I rewatched the game. They were outmanned. They did get passed all over. Like Gino really had time, and he wasn't really, like you said, kind of hurried. So I would like to see more. Don't get out of your element. Like, just be Wink Martindale. I love what he's done so far for the first 8 games. I think this last game, he kind of sat back. So, state of the Giants, love their coach. I love Brian Dable right now. For now, obviously, we always love the guy right now, honeymoon season. But I really do like Joe Shane too. I really admire him. I think we have the right people going forward. Whether or not that brings us championships is yet to be determined. But at least this team is headed in the right direction on all phases of it. Now the roster needs to be tinkered with. I still think they're going to rebuild. I really do. And this trade deadline
Sure,
shows me
absolutely.
that they. I hate to say this because because I know people think I hate Daniel, but I feel like they've had a lot of opportunities to really show that they really love this guy, and they haven't done much to prove it otherwise, right? So I'm kind of like wondering, you kept those draft picks for a reason. Why? You need a receiver, and getting a guy like a Judy or a Claypool or a guy under contract like that, is interesting. Like Hodges, he knows the offense. That's a good move, I guess. But is he going to be? Do we think he's going to be here long term? So I like that he didn't do it. On the other hand, I wonder why he didn't do it. Why you wouldn't want to go for the guy right now because the Giants. We determined right their weakness is receiver and tight end. I think receiver and tight end. Daniel Bellinger's played pretty well, unexpectedly
Absolutely.
for me at least.
Absolutely.
I didn't think he would play this well.
Yeah,
I knew he
so
would be serviceable, but not play out of his mind like he's playing right now.
Well, I was pretty high on the pick when we made the draft pick back in April. He was one of the guys I didn't think he was going to be this well right out the gate either, but I still thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to be pretty good. I thought it was a good pickup, and thought he could potentially be the steal of the draft for the Giants. So
I thought it was going to be good.
Unfortunately, he's hurt, banged up right now, and he'll be out for a few weeks or so. But
Really sucks
hopefully,
too.
we can get him back on the field because this offense needs everything it got, and he's been a big part of this offense right now, and he was getting more and more involved each and every week.
Well, you can see. I mean, I don't want to say a drop off, but Tanner Hudson stinks. Okay, yeah, he can catch a pass, but even when he was getting tackled, he's like flailing the ball out in the arm. Like somebody's going to come in there and just knock it out one day and pop it out. Chris Myrick is, he made a play. He kind of. I didn't think he was going to make that play, but he made a play. And these, guys are going to have to step up, but they're not scaring anybody. I am intrigued by the Cager kid. I really like him. On film, he blocked, even though he's like a receiver. I'm like, maybe we got something in this guy. Maybe we can do a few things, get a couple matchups that we want. Like, look for him down the red zone. I think you're going to see a lot more red zone offense with Kenny Golladay coming forward. I think because one, you already said fingers crossed that he's coming back. Two, the Giants tend to do this. When they listen to the media, they always then do what the fans say. So they're now going to force feed Golladay, who better come to play because, if he doesn't show up against Houston, well, actually, I don't even care if he shows up against Houston because that's what's going to happen. It's going to be fool's gold. He'll show up against Houston, have a couple touchdowns, and then come against the Vikings or the Eagles, he does nothing. So we'll see what happens, man.
I mean, if anything Galladay can do, maybe anything, at least maybe he can help even open things up for like the young guy I was talking about earlier, Mr. Wandale Robinson or Slayton. Maybe open up things a little bit more for those guys at least, if nothing else. I mean, I just don't know. Like I said, we had to wait and see on Galladay.
You know why I'm like that with Galladay? Because it's not like he was lighting it up and he had a couple 100-yard games already, or he had like a 60-yard game and a touchdown and he was contributing. Like last year,
he has 2 catches for 22 yards on the whole damn season.
But that's what I mean. He's not like he's done anything. And I agree. That's what I'm saying. He's not like he's done anything like that. Oh my God, Kenny Galladay's coming back. I'm like, all right, great, fine, we need you. All right, get on the bus and let's go. Let's see what we can do with you. Right, but it's not like he was lighting. You just said it. 1 catch, 20 or 2 catches, 22 yards, or whatever the fuck it is. Right, that's 1 catch for 11 yards. That's right now. He is averaging like what? I don't even know what the yardage would be per game right now that he's averaging. Right, like it's terrible. It's -0 if you want to do that. But my point is that the only reason I'm not as excited about Kenny Galladay, I kind of expected him to come back after they got rid of Tony. What am I expecting? What is he coming back to? What is he going to be? The same guy that we had? The guy who still couldn't get separation? Okay, then am I not going to get any touchdowns? Am I going to get 1 catch? Like what? What's going to happen? Are you going to force feed him now? So now the defense knows, hey, they're going to go to Kenny Galladay?
Well, I don't know. Well, we've been talking about the offensive line group. And since the Giants are on a bye this week, that gives them an extra week to get some guys a little more healthy. You think they make that move during this bye week at all? Or you still think it'll be too soon still to try to thrust Nick Gates back in there at center? Because I think we got to get Nick Gates out there on a more regular basis if he can go and if he's really ready to do it up to the task. Because even in the spots that he played on Sunday, it was noticeable. He has a different level of nasty. You know what I mean?
He brings that extra edge.
Yeah, that intensity. He's definitely he's a football player.
Do I think? Yes, I love him. I'm big ups to him. Right? More power to that guy coming back from a gruesome leg injury. I didn't think he played this season, and here he is defying the odds. So, do I think he starts? Man. I hate John Feliciano is trash. All right. I don't want to hear anybody tell me how good he is. I see the film every Sunday. That guy is not good.
Okay, he's not good. He maybe he's a better guard. Maybe the move is you move Nick Gates and you move Feliciano to guard, and maybe the offensive line gets humming then. I don't know. I don't know what it would be, right? I don't know what's going to happen. It really depends on Nick Gates and the workload that he is willing to take. If you want to know the truth, it might be a move for him to move to guard. I would love him at center, but guard might be easier on his leg, where he doesn't have to lift those heavy guys up as much as you would as a center when there's a big 340-pound lineman head up on you. You may not have that anchor power that you need right now as you're getting your strength back, football strength, that is. So maybe being a guard or the swing tackle or kicking somebody else inside may work. Like, for example, if you didn't like Neal and you said, Neal, you're going to be a Pro Bowl guard, I'd kick him to guard, move Nick Gates to right tackle, and then get a center, and away you go. But I'm not going to do that because you spent too high of a draft pick. So now it becomes you like Josh Zudu. If you think Josh Zudu is terrible, between him, Feliciano, and Golowinski, the interior is not great. It is not great. Golowinski, we played a lot of money.
Good. Not little great.
Well, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't even use great. I use good, because good is right now it tastes like old stale pizza. That's what it looks like. That's what the offensive line looks like to me. It's like stale pizza. You can put it in a microwave, but it's not going to be that good. It's kind of chewy and rubbery. It's not the same thing, right? That's what the offensive line is to me. It's just not good. It's just like, You can deal with it. You can eat it. It's the best line that Daniels had, which is pretty sad to say, with all things considered. But
they definitely are that. They are the best line he's played in front of.
But they're still bad, though. They're still bad. Like, I get what Bobby Johnson has done, and I like what he's done with the offensive line. He's simplified it. Because guys like Tyler Phillips, or whatever the frick that guy's name is, fuck that guy's name. Let me just use the real word. Whatever the fuck that guy's name is, I don't know what it is, but he's got that guy playing admirably. It's not like playing great, but he played. I mean, yesterday he was a turnstile the other day, but when he came in, and he has Evan Neal on a nice trajectory. I mean, he's done some nice things, but man, John Feliciano, man, it's like him, Ricky Seals-Jones, like a few other guys. It's just like, man, Richie James, like all I heard all offseason were how good these guys were, and it's like, man, they're good if they're not your starters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're those good little guys you rotate in every once in a while,
right.
sneak them in on a play.
Right.
They might take the top off or do something,
right.
Who's
Richie James, man? Why don't we play him more? Oh, great. Because, mind you, before those fumbles, he had a great punt return that was negated by a penalty. So everyone's cheering.
That shouldn't have been a penalty, by the way. That was a terrible call. That was a terrible call.
Well, no, they called it on the wrong. Apparently, when they looked at the film again, it was on Tay Crowder, but they said the wrong name. But whatever. It's here nor there. It was a bad penalty. But my point is, if he makes that return, people are like, ooh, yeah, now Richie James is the GOAT. But he's like that player where you're like, ooh, like this guy now, Isaiah Hodgins. I don't think he's going to be great, but I think he'll play a little bit. And we're going to be like, yeah, why don't we play him more? Then we play him more. And he's the Marcus Johnson. He's dropping footballs all over the place. Can't catch for shit. One of the top 3 picks are going to be a wide receiver next year, man. You might as well book it.
Oh, absolutely. That's for certain and for sure, man. Wide receivers, linebackers, man, they coming to New York next year.
Well, if we can I think what the Giants might do is try to keep some, like Jalen Smith doesn't play that badly. If you can get him cheap next year again, just raise his, number a little bit. Give him a raise, obviously.
Well, speaking of Jalen Smith, how you like the moving him to middle linebacker this week?
Better. So much better.
I agree.
Tay Crowder still stinks. You know what I mean? I'd rather have him stink on the weak side against players like Jalen Smith. The defense did not. The thing that Jalen Smith can't do, obviously, is he lost a step, right? He can't run as fast as he was, but I think the defense was competent. I think Leonard Williams played better. I think that's because of a competent middle linebacker, line him up correctly and put him in the right spots.
Got his first sack of the season.
Exactly. I think Jalen Smith allows you to be more flexible. What I think is interesting is Micah Parsons at weak side linebacker coming off the edge, and a couple of those things, the things that Wink Martindale was allowed to do. He's playing more of a 4-3. If you look at it right now, they're playing more of a 4-3 defense. With Kayvon Thibodeau being the Sam linebacker, and then like Jalen Smith being the middle linebacker, and then whoever else being the weak side backer. And it's kind of interesting.
Tay Crowder.
Yes, unfortunately, Tay Crowder. And it's like, that's the thing with Tay Crowder. I like what he's done for a 7th-round pick. Mr. Irrelevant, good job. Hey, high fives to you. But there's a reason why you were a 7th-round pick, bro. And if I have to see you miss a tackle every week, I just feel more comfortable with Jalen Smith in the middle.
Well, that's the thing, yeah, with Tay Crowder, man. Like I said, he's that, like you said, he's Mr. Irrelevant. If anybody that don't know, I'm sure you guys all do, but the last pick of the draft a couple years ago. And I think he's one of those kind of guys they draft because of his athletic ability, as opposed to like an potential upside. But Tay Crowder has not been playing the linebacker position very long. I mean, he just had. He did not get recruited to Georgia as a linebacker. He was a running back, I believe, when he got recruited to Georgia, and he got converted to a linebacker. So, like I said, I mean, I hate to give him the kid a hard time, but it's just, it's taking a little longer for him to come along.
Well, I mean, like he regressed. Like we liked him. He had a fumble return against the Commanders back in the day, right? He played well for them for a little bit. I think he was built for Patrick Graham's defense. He's not in Patrick Graham's defense anymore, and we need him to be a lot better than he is. And Jalen Smith,
show up his tackling and things of that nature. He just
but Matt, he tackles. You're not gonna. He is what he is. Tiger not gonna change his stripes, man. He's 230 pounds, and he's not even look 230 pounds. He actually looks skinnier than that. And do you really want that? I mean, Micah McFadden looks bigger than him, and that guy is 6'1", 235, and he got a sack himself this week. I just don't think like Tay Crowder. I'm sorry. You can bring him back, put him on the nickel, but I want to see Darian Beavers next year next to Jalen Smith. I'd love to see that matchup. Then you can draft whoever you want if you think Jalen Smith, is not going to be here long term, and you want to get a young guy in the system, a 4th-round pick, something like that. Maybe the 3rd that you got for Kansas City or some shit to see if they stay with all their draft picks. Who knows what they're going to do? Maybe they trade up. But if let's say they stay and they draft him, get a guy in here like a Chad Muma, right? Maybe you pick him up, and then. Smith goes on, has a decent year. You're like, all right, you're 28, 29, bad knee. We still don't want to pay you. We have this young guy waiting in the wings, then you can move on. But I think Jalen Smith deserves to come back next year. I think Tay Crowder, what are they going to do? Take him off for Austin Carlitro? It's not much of an option here. It's not like they can take him off and get better. It's like, hey, you guys really want Carlitro in here? Yeah, Austin Carlitro? We'll keep Tay Crowder. Thank you very much.
Well, we do got to get ready to put a bow on this thing, man. We already at the 2-hour mark now, but
been fun though.
What any more expectations for this New York Giant team coming off the bye week? And I'm talking about not just specifically against Houston off the bye week, just
playoffs.
Going forward.
I'm hoping they make the playoffs.
Season. You think
hoping they make the playoffs?
Continue to find ways to win football games. I agree. I think the New York Giants have shown that they're going to have that. They're going to always be that scrappy team. You're not going to be out there in that Seattle with that 12th man every week. You know what I mean?
Well, no, I will say this. I think against the better teams, they're going to struggle, like the upper echelons of the Eagles, the Vikings, the Cowboys. I think because talent for talent, we don't match up, but we will be in those games to keep it close. But that's what I just don't want. Just don't lose to Detroit, because I'm telling you right now, the Giants have a tough 8 games even that are left, right? There's 4 of them 2 of them are winnable, real winnable, and then the remaining 6 are against the Commanders, Indianapolis. You never know. That's
very loaded with division games, loaded with divisional matchups in November,
right? And conference matchups as well, which will affect your playoff seeding. So take care of business against these teams. Blow out a team for once. Make a statement. Come out and say, hey, we're going to beat this team by double digits. You know what I mean? Don't make it a nail biter all the way through, because teams like Texans, and that's how they thrive. They have Brandon Cooks. They throw a pass behind you on the defense and bang, they're up. There they go. You know what I'm saying? Beat the Detroit Lions. Beat them handily, so that when you go into Dallas, you're not you're 8-2, not 7-3. Right, you got to be 8-2. Let them be 7-3. Let them have all the pressure. Let them be the ones that have to win the game. Right, go in there and basically get yourself in a playoff position. Win about 8 games, and then the remaining 5 games after that, it's a toss-up. Right, just have 8 and have a chance, and then at that point, you need to only win 2 out of those 5. Right, so Figure it out.
right now.
I don't think they're going to go far in the playoffs unless it'll be matchup dependent. But I think whoever, like the Eagles, Cowboys, or Vikings, I think just have too many offensive weapons that will beat us.
Well, I mean, we'll see what happens when we get there. But like I said, like I always say, the one thing that the New York Giants do well is the one thing that usually is successful in the playoffs, and that's being the ability to run that football. So if the Giants can get there, I think you're always gonna have a puncher's chance, no matter who we playing against. However, like my last few statements, just wanna once again, it's in the New York Giants' hands. You got right now. You've only played one divisional game this season, so you still got 5 more of those to go, and those are games that are going to be critical, man. And that's, to me, those are the most important games. Those are the ones that you got to go out there and got to handle your business. I'm not saying you got to go out there and necessarily win all 5 of those games, because it's not even likely that you're going to do that. But you got to go out there and take care of business in those games, and just that's going to determine a lot right there. That's going to determine the season for the most part, honestly. It's going a critical stretch. It's going to be 4 straight divisional games, starting with Dallas on Thanksgiving. Man, you got Dallas, Washington, or I don't know, Dallas, Washington. I don't know if somebody else maybe it's somebody else in there after Washington, and then
I think I have Indianapolis as well.
Okay, so you got 4 big games right there. You're going to have some big matchups right there coming down the stretch, and it's going to be up to the New York Giants, man. It's got to go as long as they can keep demonstrating that same heart they've shown this first half of the season. I believe in the New York Giants, even though we're still doing this rebuild, even though we have a roster that just doesn't stack up to most of the other teams in this league right now. And that's the whole damn league, not even just the division, the whole damn league. This New York Giant roster on paper is just, it's not pretty, man. I don't even know how many other rosters I would rank below it, but it wouldn't be many. It's pretty.
But they're getting the best out of that roster. That's what they're
getting the most out of them. Exactly.
And I think you'll start to see the talent deficiencies show their heads as we play better teams going down the stretch, and as teams get a little bit more confident, or start to pick up momentum, even if they're middle of the road. This is where you'll start to see. Key is no injuries. We've lost a lot of guys throughout the season. Let's try to stay healthy, get Neal back, get Bellinger back, and not lose anybody while we're going.
That's one thing.
Because I can see it now.
With the injuries, right?
Daniel Jones will do an RPO, and Michael Parsons will take him out, and he'll be out for 3 weeks, and the whole season will be ruined. Yeah.
Let's hope that doesn't happen. But that's the one thing with the injuries too. That's like now Giants on their bye week, that gives you that extra week, to get some of these guys back as well. I mean, I'm sure we're still not going to see Bellinger right out of the bye, because he still should be out for couple more weeks after that. Still, honestly, but maybe we get Evan Neal back against Houston. That would be big for this offensive line, and then, like I said, O'Shane Zimenez maybe can get back in the lineup. He's been a good rotational piece. I mean, I think Azeez will still be out after the bye still for another week or two, also. But we can start getting these guys healthy, man. Giants got to just take care of their business and get healthy and stay healthy, because that's been the issue. Like you said, every week this New York Giant team seems to lose another big name on this roster, and you just can't keep affording. You just can't keep affording to do that, man. It's just too many. This roster is not built. It's not good enough right now. Next man up is one thing, but after a while, even that is just it's not gonna be good enough. These guys might be playing to their maximum ability. They're taking the coaching very well, obviously, but after a while, man, you need some degree of talent to get the job done. And right now, the New York Giants' talent is not matching up to most of the other teams in this league.
And I mean, that's what I'm saying. Even like I'm looking at Atlanta, and Atlanta's not great, but I can see their offense scoring points on us if they have to. I can see if we had to go to their house and against the South team, and that dome being a loud place to play, they're gonna be like, hey, we're at our house. The Giants, they're gonna look down the roster and say, hey man, we can beat this team. There's not anybody on here that scares them outside of Barkley, and they've already built the blueprint. And this is what I'm a little nervous about: Seattle, Baltimore, Dallas, I think even Carolina a little bit, has figured out the blueprint on how to stop the Giants. You stop their run game and bottle up Daniel and make him throw to these receivers that are depleted here and there. It's going to be a tough out for the Giants, right? It's going to be a tough game after all. They get the run game going, and things can happen. Maybe they get a little play action. Barkley can open it up. It'll be different. It really depends on how well they come out of this, how well Kenny Golladay plays. Because if Kenny Golladay plays the same way he played the first 5 games of the year, we're not going to do anything. We're going to do the same shit we've been doing, scoring 21, maybe 25 points a game, and just being a run-of-the-mill offense, okay? Figure out how we can be better, because teams are going to score, man. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Look, unpopular, man. The Giants, we do got some talent in some key areas, but with the depth of this team, it just like you said, once anybody goes down, you're pretty much replacing them with somebody you never heard of. I mean, that's just what it is almost right about now, and it's we just need to get definitely need to build that depth up, and definitely shore up a couple spots, a wide receiver spot, and I think these linebackers definitely need to be upgraded in the offseason, like major upgrades in those positions in the offseason, I believe.
And I think the last thing I'll say is this is going to be evaluation the next 8 games, 8 or 9 games. Everybody's getting evaluated from Fabian Monroe to Daniel Jones. This will really start to see who may be on this team going forward for a long time or what their plans are, because, Daniel kind of plays the same pace that he's playing now. I guarantee you he's not getting a long-term deal. He goes out and he balls out the next 9 games and makes us really realize that he's not only a franchise guy, but a guy you can rely on in big spots. Because I hate to say it, Sunday was a big spot, and he had his troubles. I need to find that out about you. I know you can run the football. I know you can pass when the defense is not that great. I need to know in these games, these big games, will you be rising to the occasion?
Well, I think he can, man. I think he can. I honestly believe in him from just what I see from him this year. He plays with a different level of confidence this year, but like I said, I think this year, honestly, his struggles are just more with the fact that he just doesn't have a lot of faith in the guys he's throwing the football to.
You'd like to think,
and that's unfortunate because
I'm not going to put 100%. I'm not going to put that 100% on him because again, we had Kenny Golladay, you had Tony at the beginning, you had Wandale Robinson, you had guys out there at the beginning of the year, and Sterling Shepard, and he still was throwing under 200 yards a game. Okay, now you're going to bring back one guy. I just don't think that's who he is. I think, like I said, he's like a Marcus Mariota guy. He's not always going to throw 250 yards, but he'll win you some games with his legs and his attributes. But you have to ask yourself, is he going to take you over the top? We'll find that out these next 9 games. These next 9 games will determine his fate. So good luck.
Well, yeah, we will see. Jared Giants, like I said, big stretch of division games coming up in December and November and December, man. And that right there is going to probably be the make it or break it point for this season, man. So I want to thank everybody, man, who came through in the chat today, man. I appreciate the love, man. Appreciate the support, man. You guys are great chat going on, man. You guys, I just really appreciate it. I'm humbled right now by the amount of people we've had in the chat for the maintaining in the chat, man. We were at a strong 10, 11 people for most of the whole stream. Pretty awesome, man. Peaked up at about 20 or so. That's a lot for us, man. And me and Adam really out here grinding every Wednesday night. We really appreciate the support, man. And we're gonna keep bringing this to y'all every Wednesday night, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, man. This is real deal. NFC East Round-Up. And this y'all boy, Mac the Giants fan. This is my guy, my super dope co-host, Adam Costas. About to say, until next week, peace. I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants fan. That's MacDa Giants fan.